There you go. Started.
Broadcast. Has that started? We'll
It
find out
hasn't
in a
started
second.
on my screen.
Okay, well, we are live. I am confident that we have started. So, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday night Reef Dork live stream. There we go. I can see it. The Prestige Reef Dork show, joined by, of course, Ryan from Prestige Reef. Ryan, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you? Oh, one
I'm
second.
very
One
well.
sec. This is what I said would happen. There you
Oh.
go. It stopped. Okay,
You've
good.
got, yeah, cool. I'm very well, yeah, and I'm just going to catch up with some of the stuff that was happening in the chat before we joined. So we've got an early ranking. Oh, actually, you know what, let me tell you what the stream's about, because that's probably a good place to start, isn't it?
Do we know what the stream's about?
Kind of. This was so this the I didn't advertise it until today because I couldn't decide on what to do with it. But anyway, so the stream is just about fish basically. So we've both got lists of fish that you've got fish that you think are a bit unusual, and the idea is that you want to introduce people. I think both of us do, introduce people to fish that you might not have thought of, you might not even have heard of,
Yeah.
but are quite cool for various reasons.
Yes, and I haven't picked my list based on any thought process where, like, for example, there's an angelfish on this list. So that most people can't have that if they're going to have coral, but that isn't what I've picked this fish on. I just think it's a cool fish, and if I could have it, I would have it. And that's what basically my list is.
Happy days. Well, so I don't really know what my list is, but it's basically there's a list of fish that I think what I've done for now is a list of fish that I don't like, and I'm going to see if you like them, and then a list of fish that I think are better.
Okay, yep, we'll do that then.
And a similar. And the first thing, the early vote from Les, moderator Les, he'll start his Regal Tang ate his acros. Hey, you're at acros. Regal Tang.
They're a pain, Regal Tangs.
I've heard of them eating LPS and Zoas quite regularly, actually. So much so that they're like they're worse than rabbitfish as far as on some occasions. But I've never heard of them eating acros. I feel like you're unlucky there. Have you seen that before with acros?
Not acros, but they are notorious for being a pain in the ass. Do you know what? That's one of those fish which so many people have or love to have a Regal Tang. And it's one of the fish which I have one which was given to me, but I would never ever buy one. I have no interest in them. They're like white spot magnets, and they're just not that nice as far as I'm concerned. So I thought let's start it off with a controversial opinion. Regal Tangs, never would I buy one.
Yeah, do you know what? So they don't do anything for me either. And for the most people I think will probably know what a regal tang is, but it's a dory. Here we go, blue tang, hippo tang, whatever you want to call it. I don't get them. They look cool, and there aren't many fish that are as hang on a second. These comments in a way. There aren't many fish that are as nice and blue as that. I do like the blue.
Yes.
But there's something I couldn't tell you what it is. There's something I just don't like.
I think it's the shape. I think they are like an odd shape for some reason. Okay. Because I agree with you. Like the contrast of blue and yellow and black, they're a nice looking fish, but I just wouldn't want one. And for me, the only thing I can think of, they look different. If you look at the shape of them, they're different to all other tangs. There's no other tangs that are that shape.
I guess so. Yeah, suppose so. It's a subtle difference, but there are differences. But yeah, I don't like them at all either. I don't know why. There are some fish that I'll try and get rid of that. There we go. There are some fish on my list that I'm just like, you know what, just don't bother with these. They're fish. They're much better fish. That one though is one that I'm not like, they're rubbish, no one should buy them. Yeah. It's just I don't know what it is about. Part of it is because they get big, and that puts me off.
Yeah. I think if you know about them, if you know that they can be trouble with corals, you know that they can be trouble with parasites, and you know that they get really big, then, and also when they're big, they're not as pretty as when they're like this big. Then it's almost like your mind has already decided I don't want that fish based on those rather than based on how it looks.
It's like when a person has an off-putting personality.
Like me.
Well, exactly, like you. Extremely good-looking bloke, but just really, really irritating. And it's like, oh God, no. Just to look at, fine, but if I'm gonna have to talk to him, God.
Is that what you were thinking last night? So we need to clarify that comment.
You need to explain that comment.
Alex and I met for dinner and a beer last night. So it sounds like a date. It wasn't a date, although it did
Sounds
look
like
like
a date the way you said it.
I know. I just realised how that came out.
Yeah.
But yes, so that's what you were thinking while you were staring at me lovingly over a candle lit table.
Exactly. And so we went for a curry.
Yeah.
And you said you gave me the option. You said, well, there are 3 restaurants we can go to, and one of them was like a crappy one up the road, basically.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, so I can either take you that one, or I can take you to the one that I took Aaron's aquarium to.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Ago. I was like, you can't take me to the crap one, having taken Aaron's aquarium to the nice one.
True.
So I felt like a lesser YouTuber at that point.
True. See, I was trying to take you to the crappy one because of being a lesser YouTuber, but
exactly, yeah. We've got Queen of Reef in the house. Stephanie, good evening. How are you? And as always, my favourite guest, 90s catchphrase was Sean from the Ocean Project. Do you want to kick off with the first fish on your list then?
Okay, the first fish on my list is. I'm not sure why I like this fish, but it's a fish I've always wanted, and it's an annularis angelfish. So this fish is not a fish that can go in a reef tank, although I'm going to try and keep one in a reef tank, just to see what corals it does and doesn't eat. It's not the prettiest angelfish. It's not the most expensive angelfish. It's just a fish that for some reason I've always had this feeling that if ever I could have an angelfish, that's the one I would get. And I'm sure the reason I picked it is because you're now going to go, it looks rubbish.
So there's a couple of things I don't like about that fish. I like that it's a different, and I had to Google it because I'd not heard of an annularis. Well, I'd heard of an annularis, but I couldn't picture it.
Yeah.
Didn't know what it looked like. So I like that it's a bit unusual. I do like as a general rule, I prefer I never buy Apple. I buy other stuff because I prefer like less mainstream stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
So I like that this is a bit unusual. I think that's cool. But it's a bit ugly, isn't it? It's neither yellow nor brown.
You've obviously never seen one in person. You know those glowing blue. You know how the lights make coral glow?
Yeah.
Those like stripes on it glow under blue lights. They look amazing.
That's quite cool. I might have seen one in the wild actually. I've been scuba diving once a long time ago, and there were like dinner plate size angelfish, and that's the other thing with this. Yeah. These guys get big. How big do they get?
They're actually one of the smallest of the large angelfish, and I think that's why I wanted one. So I actually ordered one years and years ago, and I think this is almost like the one that got away for me. And it turned up it was ordered from a wholesaler. It arrived at the fish shop. For whatever reason, that box had been put upside down or on its side. And unfortunately, every single fish in that box died, except the angelfish. And it was a special order for me. And I went and saw it, and I said, well, look, obviously, if all the other fish died, I want to make sure it's going to, survive. So I'll leave it here. And unfortunately, a day later, it died. And after I never got it. And it just feels like the one that got away.
Right. Okay.
But this was obviously before I got coral. So, because I started with a fish only tank before realizing that they're proper boring.
Oh yeah, I've always wanted I could never do it because I just love corals too much. But I would love a fowler tank, a fish only.
Well, that's the fish that I will probably get when I have the other tank set up in the house and I have an angelfish in it. That's the angelfish I'll get. Now, I know I should have given a spoiler warning, because I'm sure lots of people will care, but that's the fish that I would probably get. So there is another fish, actually, which is an angelfish, which, again, I'm not sure why I like it, which is a rock beauty. That's another one which I have some sort of weird feelings towards.
Well, before we move on to that, I've posted a poll in the chat. Have you seen it?
Yes, I'm the first person who clicked cool. It's now got 100% cool rating.
Oh, damn it! I've not got YouTube up in that, so I can't counter your click.
Who clicked fugly?
Everyone, probably. 74%. That's quite impressive, to be fair. So we'll let that run for a second, because that for me, like so this is actually one fish that makes a point that applies to pretty much every fish. Juvenile fish, as a general rule, look a lot better than older fish, don't they?
Not in this case. I don't like any of the blue angelfish.
You don't like the juvenile one of that? It looks awesome.
I don't like. No. Even
You
the
like
emperors
brown?
and the Koran angels and things like that. I'm not a massive fan of the juveniles.
Do you know what? Emperor is the only angel for me where they look as cool junior and as adults.
I don't
And you
like
see,
emperors at all. I don't like the
oh,
juveniles or the adults.
look
I
at that!
just,
Look at the little one in the corner. Look
I
at that guy.
just, I for whatever reason. I mean, look, if I had to pick a juvenile or an adult, I'd go for a juvenile. But I just have never had any interest in the adults.
Interesting. Okay. Well, look, I'm gonna wrap that poll up now, and we're ending it at 65% like the annularis, and 35% have good taste. So
Well, we'll
interesting.
we'll see. Well,
Cool.
come on then, bring it on. Let's see what your next fish is then.
Yeah. The trouble is, I've done this differently to you. So I'm going to do it this way, right? How can I do this way? Okay. Do you know what I'm going to do?
I think you should introduce. This is what we're going to do now. You're going to put forward a fish. I'm going to
Yep.
argue it, saying this is why it's good, and you're going to tell me why it's not good, or if you do or don't like it. And I think you should put forward the tang you told me about yesterday.
Well, the first fish I want to talk about, I can't remember what one that was, but we'll come back onto that.
Yeah.
The first fish I want to talk about is this guy, the Naoko wrasse.
Yes.
And so when this is the one fish that I get asked about more than any other fish. In fact, this probably accounts for 90% of my comments, to the point that if I see a comment on my that pops up on my little app that says, gives a little timestamp and says what fish is that, I don't need to click on the timestamp. I can just say Naoko wrasse, because 9 times out of 10 that's what it is. And the reason for that is because they've got the little black fins at the bottom they look a little bit kind of normal, but they hang down loads really far, and then they got this massive, they flare up their flasher, their top fin, and then they just look really cool, and then they dive bomb fish below them.
Oh.
Have you seen it?
Are they aggressive or when you say
No,
dive
no,
bomb?
they're completely peaceful. Do you know what? I'll get rid of this for a
They're
sec.
not very common. I have seen them, but then you don't see them that often, and that's probably why a lot of people ask what they are.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, and mine died. It got bullied by my coal tang to death, which was really a real shame. But it was a really cool fish, and I'm going to try to get. I've got a video of him dive bombing, so I'll show you what I mean. But you don't see them very often, and that's the beauty of them, because it is a little bit more unusual. Hang on. Right, here we go. So share screen, add to dynamic. There we go. So he is currently right at the top. He's there. I think you can see the mouse
yeah,
there,
yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
and it's a bit washed out. But here we go. So here he is. He's swimming around at the top. Fins come out, and then my Anthea's on the right at the bottom. He used to love dive bombing them. He'd like circle like this, like a hawk, and then suddenly he'd see one of the Antheas he wanted to go for.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
And he,
Are they birdmouth wrasse in the background?
no, birdmouth wrasse.
Your
Where are you looking?
wallpaper. How
Oh,
did you not get?
hey, good one. Oh, hello. But they're so cool, and I love that that dive bombing is completely unique, and it just feels like maybe it is aggressive. It didn't feel that way. It just kind of felt like he was doing it to mess with them.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
never, because he never actually attacked them, and it just felt like he was punking them. I just thought it was hilarious.
It was when it put the fins out. That's when
Yeah,
it separates itself from other wrasses, makes itself look more
yeah,
interesting to
yeah,
join. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
yeah, I would say yay for that. I'll give you that one. I quite like it. I've
okay.
never been into wrasse myself. I think I've never had a lid on any of my display tanks, so I've tried to
Yeah,
avoid. The only wrasse I ever have are ones that eat pests, which are Melanaris, which we all love, and silver
yellow
bellies and
rust.
yellow
Yeah, yeah.
chorus.
Do you know what really annoys me?
Melanaris wrasse?
When people call yellow wrasse yellow chorus wrasse.
Isn't that what they're called?
No, there's no such thing as a yellow chorus wrasse. There is a red chorus wrasse,
Really?
and then there's a yellow wrasse. But the yellow wrasse is Halichoris crius, or crisis, I think.
Yeah.
And the red chorus wrasse is something, chorus is in the Latin name. But people say it all the time. I'm sure even Jake and Reef Builders said it once, and he was really pedantic about it. And I lost my mind. I was like, oh no.
Oh,
But yeah, it really bothers me. It's one of those things that's so pathetic that
Yeah.
like I wish it didn't bother me, but it does. I can't help who I am.
Yeah, but if you Google yellow chorus wrasse, it comes up, doesn't it?
Yeah, because other idiots like you Google it and go, and that's what I'm looking for.
Well, if
Anyway,
that's what people know it as, then
exactly.
surely
Yeah.
in theory
Ultimately, it
that's its
doesn't, and
name.
that's why I hate myself. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But okay, so just count one sec. So I'm not going to do a poll for that because we both agree it's wicked.
Yes. Yeah.
And I want to know what the ones that split opinion, basically.
Ah,
And
I
then we'll
see.
go to
Okay.
that. So there's actually one question that's popped up that I just want to answer as well. So Riviera Reefer, I've got very strong feelings about this. Says, interested to know if perfecting lighting gives you 10% improvement or less, as you say, than when you do, if perfect lighting gives 10% improvement or less, why the hell do you upgrade so often, Reef Dork? That's, I think, what the question is. And look at this, I've got a beer arriving. She even went out to get it. That's amazing. Can you pass it over?
You are an incredibly lucky man.
Look at
So
that. Oh, wicked. So this question is basically, I think the question is, if perfect lighting only gives you 10% improvement, why do I upgrade so often? And that is a fair question. That's a pointed question, but you're entitled to make that question. So I don't think there is such a thing as perfect lighting, to be honest. I think you could maybe play around with the sliders and get it so the corals, it's close to what the corals would choose if they could play around with the sliders. But really, what I always do is I try to make it the light so they look good to my eyes, and unless I'm doing something crazy like 100% whites, 100% reds, and no blue, it's going to look. If I like it, the corals are going to like it as well. Is my approach because of the way new LEDs in particular are set up. It wasn't the case when they first came out.
yeah.
But generally, if I like it, I'm not going to mess around with the spectrum too much. But is it going to give you 10%? If you're lucky, maybe. But I think it's better. What are you smirking at?
I always put you off whenever I start laughing.
I know, yeah.
Les says if you Google Nemo, a clownfish comes up, Ryan. As if to go,
very true.
To go, that's not what they're called.
Exactly, yeah, it's very true. But so might it give you 10%? Yeah, it might do. But you're talking that kind of number. Playing around with your sliders to improve the health and growth of your corals isn't going to make a significant difference. It might make 10%, it might make 5%, it might make no difference. What will do though is keeping everything the same, or just set it and forget it. It's better to have a lighting spectrum that is not quite perfect and leave that for 2 years than change every 3 months trying to get it perfect for a year. And so the second part of this question is, why do I upgrade so often? Because I'm an idiot and I chase.
OCD.
But it's not because I chase perfection for corals. I don't buy new lights most of the time thinking, I would like my my Acropora tenuis to grow slightly faster. It's because I want to, like, I had my Evergrow lights, they were wicked, but I just didn't get enough shimmer. So I wanted more Kessels and I couldn't fit more Kessels with those.
Yeah.
So I got 2 big Kessels and then added 4 Reef Brights. And now the deep blues aren't as good with the Reef Brights as they were with the Evergrows. So in the evening, so if I was to be like really weird about it, I'd change again. But I've just stopped because it is better to leave it.
It's so weird hearing you talk like this because I just put my lights on, AB plus, good to go. That's all. I don't change any settings. I don't care. And it's kind of. I said this to someone who came to pick up coral yesterday from me. Like the guy was there, and there's 5 almost virtually identical pieces, and lots of people do this, and they'll go, "I want the third one back," even though they're all basically the same. And in that situation, they're comparing those corals against each other as to which is the best one. But the reality is, when it's in their tank, there's not going to be 4 of the same coral there, so any of them would look good. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same with the lights. As far as I'm concerned, as long as I never do touch them at all. I don't know how
that's the
you
way
see
to
a
do
difference.
I do say when I make my videos saying I'm upgrading, I'm a dickhead. Don't do this. You just stick with it.
Yeah.
And because there's no reason not to. And so I went to the farm yesterday. Your corals look amazing. There's one coral we've both got that I bought from you.
The burning banana
stylo Ciniella. In my tank, it looks nice. It does look nice. But in your tank, holy mother of all that is good, it looks awesome. It's so nice. And it's like it's not like you've got bad lights and I've got good lights or vice versa. It's just it doesn't matter. It just still looks awesome. You've just picked a template, set it, and it still looks awesome.
Yeah.
That's I just because I these little things. I always in everything in my life I try to make tiny improvements to lots of different things. Probably loads of people do it, and lighting is one of the things where I'm like, that looks really cool. But what if I had 15% more shimmer? Yeah. Or wow, that I don't know. I don't know if that's quite deep blue enough.
Trust me, not other people don't do this. Not the majority.
No,
of people,
no,
you.
exactly. But so yeah, so I'm an idiot. So so why do I upgrade so often? Because I'm an idiot, basically. So and I'm not going to upgrade anymore. Even if a company offered me £5,000 worth of lights, I'd say no, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Send me the cash instead.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving them. I'm determined to leave them for at least 3 months.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and a follow-up question, and why not focus on lowering phosphates that could arguably improve your corals more for far lesser cost? It's not about improving the corals is the main thing really.
Yeah.
But with phosphates, I should do that, and I always think about it. I talk about it. I've been talking about it for a long time. But given my corals look so good as it is, I'm not in any desperate rush to change.
Plus, sometimes if you lower the phosphates too quickly, you can have a significant issue, and all of a sudden your tank that's been looking brilliant for months or years, all of a sudden you've got certain coral stripping because they're used to that environment.
And that is so. If I were to chase reduced phosphates, that is a prime example of what people are talking about when they say don't chase numbers. Because my numbers on paper, 0.3 phosphate, that's 10 times higher than you want it.
Yeah.
Now, I do think actually my corals will look better at 0.03, but I'm not really that bothered because they look good enough as it is. So it's like, I don't really care. If someone tells me, you know what, your phosphate should be 0.03, I'm sure it should. And I think, my corals might well look better, but I'm not so bothered. If my corals look rubbish and they're all brown, fair enough. But
why do you want perfection with regards to how the corals and the shimmer looks with lighting? But if there's something that you absolutely know will probably make a difference, probably more of a difference than the lighting, which is the phosphate, but you don't want to do that?
Because I'm an idiot.
So
I just really like the shimmer, and that's the question he's asking.
Yeah.
But I've tried a couple of times to bring my phosphates down slowly.
Yeah.
And I've got it down to like 0.08, and I don't really notice a difference. Yeah. That's the thing, and I'm not expecting if I were to get my phosphate down to 0.03 and keep it that way for 6 months, I think it would look better. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be night and day.
Yeah, I notice a big difference with certain corals. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Sunset Montipora for me, if the phosphates are higher, it's the first thing to start turning brown. But although you have it in your tank, and you said that it's really bright in your tank, didn't you?
What was that? Sorry, the
Sunset Montipora.
Yeah,
the green polyps. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really bright green, thick polyps as well.
Yeah. So you said you couldn't see the orange. It's mostly green on your one, isn't it?
Yeah, just because the polyps are massive.
Yeah.
So you don't see the red underneath. But yeah. Anyway, we've gone off topic. So, what's your next fish?
Well, I want. This isn't going to be a serious fish. I want to put out for Melanaris wrasse because it's like a debate that we have all the time, where you hate them and I love them, and I'm gonna put forward my argument. A Melanaris wrasse is an all-around great fish. It eats pests for you. It looks good. It adds movement to the tank. It's always swimming around. So that
for people who don't know, you're
going to pick the ugliest picture.
I knew you'd say that, and I'm not going to cheat like you did last time. What I'm going to do is I found a picture and this is, I think, I can't get it to zoom, which is annoying, but I think this is a true representation of what this fish looks like. Zoom, damn you. I can't get it to zoom. Why can't I zoom? Anyway, so that is, I think, what the fish actually looks like.
Yeah, maybe not bad, but as I said, it also comes with all these other benefits. Yeah, see, that's a better picture.
Hang on a second.
Look how beautiful it is.
But this photo is overexposed, by the way.
No.
It is, and that's he's either using a flash or a light on it. So I think that for a start, I think they're boring as hell. But go on, pitch for it.
No, as I said, it's a fish which is always swimming around. So some fish aren't always swimming around, and some fish are only in certain areas of the tank, so it doesn't make the tank look full. It makes other fish feel safe because again, as it's like a dither fish, where it's out and about. It eats pests, flatworms, nudibranchs, all sorts of things. And you can get both male and female, so they're sexually dimorphic, which makes them even more interesting. And yeah, I think that's about it, really. And your argument is that they're ugly.
Simple as that. And this is the thing is, have I created a poll? Can you have a look and see if a poll has appeared?
Nothing's come up.
Yeah, it keeps. Let me ask your community. An error occurred. Try again. All right.
It's almost like fate doesn't want this to ever be decided.
I know. Yeah. Do you know what? So you keep talking about how good they are, and I'll do this again.
So the one that's on the screen at the moment is a male, but you also get a female one which they're more orange. The lines on them are more orange than pink. I believe that's what it is. But yeah, there you go. I'm gonna be the first person to click cool. There you go.
Don't be influenced by him, guys. So
don't be influenced by me. I've just told everyone. Oh.
So we keep. I've
yes.
The
votes come up so quickly. It's like, how has 37 people clicked yes or like that fast?
But so I'll tell you why I don't think this is. So for a start, I just think they're dull. Okay, and these photos, the bottom right corner, I think is the best representation because they're blue and green, which on the face of it sounds cool. Yeah. But when they're in your tank, and they've got a bit of orange as well, the bit that looks red in reddy pink, that looks orange to my eye. They just look like they're just a bit like, and after you've had them for a few months, you find them boring. They're doing
a job for you.
Well, the other thing so yes, they can eat pests and that sort of stuff, but so can any other Halocoris wrasse. And these guys are bullies.
No.
Hooven's wrasse are the most aggressive Halocoris wrasse I've ever had. They're not always, and mine wasn't at first, but I found him really aggressive. He used to chase other fish, and then and when that happens, you start researching, don't you? Google it, and when you do that, turns out it's not just me. Loads of people are like, "Oh God, yeah, he was a right vicious bastard."
I had one that was bullied by a 6-line.
Well, yeah, that's no surprise.
I've got a 6-line in almost every tank, and they're mostly okay, but I've got one that's just mean.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're not always mean, and some people have success with them, but a lot of people don't because they can be very aggressive. But oh no, right?
Someone's
29%.
Well, they've is pelagic swimmer? Is that how it's pronounced? Yep. It says they look dull in your tank because your lights need to be upgraded.
You're right. You know what? That's not a bad shout, actually. To be fair,
the lights on your tank are really white in comparison to a lot of people's. That's what I've noticed when I am there. And the other thing that I will say is I have I've got a Tang, which if I put on the white lights looks amazing, and under blue lights it looks rubbish. So some fish glow like any white fish like clownfish glow under blue lights, but most don't know. Anyway, we've done 2 polls now, and I'm 2 for 2.
I know, yeah. But the trouble is that my choices aren't going to pull me back because I've got some that most people will like. I think
and it doesn't matter that 71% of the people think that it's a cool fish. You will never change your mind.
No, well, and ultimately, so with any I did a video on Friday that was my 6 favorite fish. I think it was.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying these should be your 6 favorite fish. The purpose of that video is just these are 6 fish that are cool. You might want to have a think about it. Go and if you think they're cool, go and research them. Yeah. And you shouldn't think. Do you know what? I wonder what other people will think of these photos when I post them online, for example. Yeah, I don't care. Obviously, I want people, particularly making YouTube videos, I want people to think my stuff is cool, but ultimately, it's not my priority. And I would rather make a tank that I think is awesome and everyone else thinks is rubbish.
Yeah.
Fill it full of cool fish instead of Melanaris wrasses and try to please you. So,
I think everyone should do that for their tanks. They should pick.
I think most people do, to be fair.
I don't. I really don't.
Really?
I think people buy things based on the names of them all the time. People buy things based on the names.
Yeah, based on what do you mean? But oh god, hang on a second. This is an abomination. Much better looking, a Richmond's wrasse.
They are mean, Richmond's wrasse.
You're telling me that's just exactly the same as a Melanaris
They're
wrasse.
often actually sold. Sometimes you see shops selling those as Melanaris wrasse
Yeah,
because
get out,
when they're
Sean.
small, people don't notice.
I don't like that fish at all. Sorry, I interrupted you. Can you remember what you were saying?
No,
Buying
I
on
think
names.
people often buy off the names. It's one of the most common and frustrating things I get with people when they come in and they go,
Corals, yeah.
I only want with corals, but it's probably the same with fish. It's like I have a gem tang not because it's the best looking fish, but because I wanted one. And why did I want one? I wanted one because it was rare, and because I don't know, I just wanted one. But it's
But
just,
that's not with buying because of names. That's not because people are thinking, oh, I hope other people will like X coral because it's a name. It's because you know the name of you might have seen it online,
yeah.
and so you want that coral, and that doesn't necessarily, the photo that you've seen online won't necessarily look like the actual coral. That's the problem.
I was just checking something quick, but an interesting thing that happened at the weekend was pelagic swimmer actually came to the coral farm, and
Okay.
almost everyone, as soon as they walk in, they go straight to the torches, straight to the torches, straight to the frog spawns, straight to the hammers. That's the first thing they always go and have a look at. And after about an hour, I said to him, "Do you want to have a look at you haven't even looked at the torches or the hammers. You just went, I've got no interest in them." And it was interesting
right.
because that's the same as me. I don't have any interest in torches or hammers. I had a frog spawn which grew. I had two frog spawns which grew massive in the 1,000 litre tank. But other than that, I never ever bought them ever. I just wasn't interested. And it was interesting to meet someone who had the same opinion as me.
Do you know, so I looked at your farm yesterday as well. I don't think
Yeah.
I spent much time looking at the torches, and the torches and the hammers were.
What do you
Some,
mean,
there was, you had
It was,
you had
it was
one nice
spectacular.
one.
I think you mean.
You had a nice torch that was quite bright and goldy-ish color.
That's
like yellow.
it's a two heads of dragon soul. Was
Oh,
one.
I don't think it was a dragon. Anyway, whatever it was nice. But there
Yeah.
a few corals caught my eye. One of them was, and this is another example of times when the photo doesn't do it justice. This one, man, these in the flesh,
They're amazing, aren't they?
they are so nice. And this photo, they look nice in that photo. Don't get me wrong, but holy beep, in the
I
flesh,
know.
they are stunning.
You can see them from the other side of the room. That's how bright they are, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the thing. So maybe it's just the bright because I like bright shiny stuff. But
Yeah.
oh god, they look so cool. And the burning banana Stardust in yellow as well. I've said a few times as well. Stands out. But yeah, can I put Ocean Projects in a timeout? Yeah, if you post any more filth like that, Les, just kick him out.
Pelagic Swimmers just ask if he bought one of those gonnies. He did buy one of those gonnies.
Who bought
Pelagic Swimmer, the person who came to the coral
Yeah.
farm, he bought one of those the gonnies that you just showed.
Oh yeah,
But
oh, right.
because they look so different on the picture and how much the better they look in real life, he doesn't realize he's got that exact one.
Oh, I see. So he's saying, "Damn, I missed." So he bought that one.
Yes,
So
he
just
has that one. Yeah.
So, right, 100% honest. Just say, well, actually, it looks awesome. Yeah, but
Yeah.
tell us what you think of it because it's just, and the annoying thing is, I was going to bring my camera.
Yeah.
I got it, took it downstairs, put it on the side, fed the cat, and then walked out without picking the camera up again.
Yeah.
Because I will be able to get videos and photos of how that coral looks, not exaggerated, how it looks to your eye with a fancy camera. And I was really looking forward to showing some of them, and I'm gutted because I missed it.
Yeah. Well,
Next time.
You're welcome anytime you want. Before we move on, there's two questions that's come up specifically for me. I can't ship to Ireland since Brexit. You can't do it anymore, and I do still have my gem tang. Yes.
You can ship to Northern Ireland, right?
No, you can't. Because
Oh, really?
Nope. That's what that Brexit border zone is thing.
Protocol, or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're not. Yeah. It's you're not.
That
allowed to.
picture you showed is awful. Yeah.
I just look. That is true. I don't think it's awful. I think it's a good pic. It looks like a nice coral, but I think in real life they look better. Most people get corals and they go, "This is better than I thought it was going to be," which is nice.
Alrighty. Anyway, so let's move back on then, shall we? What's your next fish?
I think it was your turn, wasn't it?
Was it my turn? Oh,
Yeah.
God, right, let me bring up my list.
I mean, I did the melon. Actually, no, I did the Melanaris wrasse, but that was like we already.
Do you know what? Actually, what I'm going to say, Joe, this is a much better idea. What we should have done is you suggest a fish that you like, I think is awful, and I suggest a fish that is a better alternative, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
And the fish that, because I actually wrote down my list as well, had a Melanaris wrasse on it, and my alternative that was better is the earmuff wrasse.
Oh, what?
What?
Why?
Come on.
That's like a weird color as well. It's like fish shouldn't be that like human skin color.
What are you saying? That's stunning.
No, I don't like that at all.
Here we go.
That
Look at that.
It looks better in that picture there. I just think it just don't know, just doesn't do it for me. Maybe under white lights it looks good. So maybe I can imagine that's not a fish that looks good under blue lights.
Right. Okay. I'm going to say because I think I can accept that people like the Melanaris wrasse, of course, but what I can't accept is that people prefer it to that.
I hope I win this. Let's just annoy Alex and whatever you think, just say it looks awful. See, look,
Right.
we've had other people look. People are saying Melanaris look better. Someone's actually put a load of sick faces. Let's just face it. You have terrible taste in fish.
And actually, so pelagic swim says not as hardy, and mine died. It had a bacterial infection of some kind. Oops. There we go. Brylac knows. But yeah, so
winning again.
But we'll see. Oh, you're kidding me? No way. You can't tell me.
You have just got terrible taste in fish, and apparently corals as well.
I'm going to end the stream. That's outrageous.
I'm keeping
really
a tally,
surprised.
by the way. This is going to be 3 for 3.
Oh God, does my taste suck?
And remember, this is your home turf. This is your channel. It's not like it's my channel.
I know. Yeah. Oh dear.
It looks like a freshwater fish.
God.
It just doesn't do it for me. There are plenty of nice wrasse. You could have shown like loads of wrasse, like the Hawaiian flame wrasse, or there's like that Australian one that is Lanardi wrasse. There's loads of nice wrasse.
Oh, Lanardi, yeah.
And you picked one that's like human skin coloured.
This is look at it. It's stunning. How do you not?
No.
Oh, it's got like pink. It's got yellow. It's got an ear spot.
No.
Right, 64. 66. I'm ending the poll. I've seen enough. I can.
Give me. That's 3 for 3.
3-0 I've lost. I should have gone with. That's a good shout. To be fair, Tamarin wrasse is stunning, but they're difficult to keep.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So I don't think that's apples and oranges for you, but they are cool as hell. Oh God, yeah, I am questioning my life choices.
Okay, I'm going to give you one that you might be able to win, maybe.
Go on.
I want to go for. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's like Rhinopeus. Now, this is a fish that is an unusual, ugly fish, but so ugly that it looks cool. And you have to go for a pink one. Don't go for a yellow one, because I'm talking about the pink ones. They are very expensive, usually. They're a few £100s. And I'm not suggesting everyone go get one because they'll eat all your fish. But it's just my purpose of this stream was to show fish that lots of people want. Like, that's an ugly picture.
Oh, sorry. Did I find a bad picture?
That is such a bad picture of one. As I said, my purpose of this list was to pick fish which people wouldn't necessarily have seen.
Which photo would you like me to pull up of all these ugly ones?
Let me see if I can find one.
How about this one? Look at it. Oh God.
I've just googled it myself. Okay.
Do you know what my sewage drain got blocked today?
And it looked like that.
The guy came out to fix it, and he pulled one of them free.
Yeah. Which one? Second row.
Yep.
Your pictures are different to mine.
Second
row, second picture.
That.
Yeah.
So he is interesting. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Now, as I
And
said,
do you know what? I said before, there's a guy in Ultimate Reef who's got a load of scorpion fish, frogfish, and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
And it's a cool tank because it's different,
yeah,
and you don't see stuff like this very often. But it's not to my taste. Those fish, he's got some fish that I think are awesome,
yeah.
but some of them, like this one, that to me is just.
As
Oh
I said,
God.
I'm not saying that I would buy it. I just think it's a fish which is an unusual fish. And someone has said, look, that is a
It is
conversation piece fish right there. Now, it's the same as frogfish. So ugly that they're cool.
You know what else is an unusual fish?
No, that's take it to the extreme.
The blobfish.
That looks surprisingly similar to you, actually.
It does actually, to be fair. Bloody hell, yeah, it's a bit disappointing.
You got the
isn't
same hairstyle.
it? I know, but yeah. So that is cool. That particular one is cool. I like the patterns.
I've also seen one in yellow, and the yellow one I saw was absolutely amazing. Like, I've only ever seen one yellow one.
They're
Google
just
yellow
so
one.
ugly,
Just let's see if I can bring this back. Google yellow one to see if it. They're like,
yellow. What's the other one? The frogfish as well. You like, don't you?
yeah. Oh, okay. Go for the yellow ones. Because the yellow
This
one
guy looks quite cool actually. The photo's going to be quite small, but I'll make him bigger.
so
I mean,
ugly
it's
and
not great.
cool. Yep.
That's cool, but it's ugly,
Yeah, I would like.
really ugly. And the one thing that I think is ugly about that, you see his mouth.
Yeah.
So he's got one of these mouths that like, you look how far back it goes. If he opened his mouth,
Yeah.
it would be like a great white shark. They're enormous, and I don't like fish with massive mouths.
That's
Don't know what it
the
is
one
about it.
thing about that fish you think is ugly. It looks like it's the color of sick, and you think that its mouth is what makes it ugly.
Yeah,
They look. I do, as I said. I'm not trying to. I'm not. I don't. I'm not saying I would want one. I'm just saying that if you saw that in a shop, you'd go, "That's a cool fish. I've not seen that before."
I did see one in a shop not long ago, Reef Keeper Windsor, one of my favourite shops, my local shop.
Yeah.
And they had it was like the brown one, and it's cool. You're absolutely right. When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, cool! I've not seen one of those, maybe ever, certainly for a while."
Mm-hmm.
But then my second thought was, I can see why I've not seen one of those before because they're bloody ugly.
Do you see how much it was? Because they're usually expensive.
Probably a couple hundred. I don't remember.
Yeah. So, okay, if you're going to do a poll on that one, the poll has to be, is this a cool fish? Not, is this a pretty fish? Because I'll lose that.
Fine. Okay. How did you want me to phrase it?
Is it a cool fish?
What are the tool options?
Cool or uncool?
Cool or uncool? Cool
Yeah.
or uncool?
I probably should have gone unique, because then they almost definitely would have won.
There we go. I've posted that up with the options you've asked for.
Yeah,
Oh no, I've misspelt it. Oh no, oh that's a shame.
I'm going to lose this one, but it doesn't matter.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if you don't lose it. It's close.
What, because
60-40.
So, well, we'll see. We'll see. Actually, that's so interesting. Someone just said a boxfish. I haven't included a boxfish on my list.
Do you know what? So I'm going to go onto my Instagram page at Reef Dork, and I'll show you a really cool. I went to TMC a while ago, Tropic Marine Centre, the importer, the big importer in the UK.
Yeah.
I was really impressed. Actually, I didn't think I was going to be, but they had obviously they've got a ton of fish there, and they had a load of yellow boxfish.
Yeah.
They're all obviously they're tiny when they get them in,
Yeah.
but they look so cool. You had one, didn't you, Pablo?
Yeah, so yeah, I had one probably for 4 or 5 years, I think, maybe even longer. And unfortunately, eventually, I was testing out a prototype powerhead, and it got stuck to the powerhead. So, and that was that was the last. That was such a shame because that was something that was directly my like. If I hadn't done that, it would still be alive. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So. That poll is actually surprisingly close, considering you
I'll come back to that in a sec. But so there you go. So these are the yellow boxfish. They are cool as hell.
They are cool.
And so my Instagram. I don't really use Instagram much, to be fair. But I posted this video, and it got like 60,000 views, whereas a normal video on Instagram will get 1,000 views. I'm just not, people went crazy for it because they're just so cool.
Yeah.
Which I think we can all agree with. So the poll, I'm going to end the poll there before it gets any closer. 59. I tried to cheat.
Yeah.
And only just worked.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, pink coral croucher gravies. That is a great shout. You
no,
know.
they are ugly.
Really, you think they're
Yeah,
ugly? This is
they're,
see.
they're
This
like
is
this
what.
big, and they've got the ugliest face.
Okay, so if you look up closely, I think they're cool, and I'm going to bring up a photo that I've seen before that makes it look better than it actually is, in my opinion. So this is the photo's slightly overexposed, well lit, I think I would say. So here it is.
Yeah, ugly.
You think that's ugly?
That is a ugly fish.
He's got a bit. He's a bit beardy. I just think he's cool. I think he's quirky. I like that. For a start, I like his pattern. I
Yeah.
like that he's got a bit of a what my mates in up north call a jar jut, like a sticky out jaw.
Oh, so the last fish that had a sticky out jaw, you criticised it for.
Oh
and
yeah,
this
because he had
one,
like. I feel like he was going to eat me, but these guys are cool and they're tiny. How big are they? They're less
Yeah,
than an
yeah.
inch, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
2 inches max size, but that'll be like half an inch long. They are really cool, but the thing, so it's really interesting that you and I differ so much. But this is what I like. I like it when we don't agree on stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me to hear what people think about this. So genuinely, and it's like pretty much half the people thought that was ugly. The scorpion fish was
Oh
pretty,
yeah. No,
which
yeah.
is they might have been winding me up.
I was in the
but-
ugly camp. To be fair, I didn't think it was a pretty fish. I think it's a
But
unique fish.
Exactly, but isn't it interesting that people think it's cool? I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, what's this called?
That's one of those fish that the coral crouchers are one of those fish you put in your tank and you never see. Like 6 months later, you'll just see it like a tail sticking out of a rock somewhere. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
I just
I bet.
remembered that I put that in.
So I've posted the question as cool or uncool.
It's just
Which I
how
think
come
is
you got cool or uncool on this one, but the last one had to be pretty or ugly?
Because my channel, so
No.
I made them. My ball, my rules.
No,
But I think they're really cool. This is I love that all this, like with people having completely different perspectives, opposite perspectives.
Yeah.
I genuinely find that interesting.
No,
Especially
yeah.
on some fish like the Melanaris wrasse, which for me is genuinely. Hang on, build that back up. Genuinely, it's boring fish to me.
That is such a close poll. Look, it's 52-48.
Because I get what you're saying with that being ugly. Because he is a bit. He looks like an old man at Weatherspoons.
He looks like an old man that hasn't shaved, has got chicken pox.
He does a bit, but I think he's cool. He's not pretty. He's not like a scarlet hawkfish,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a cool fish. But
Yeah.
I think he's cool.
He's probably got character. Look how
Character,
close the poll is. It's 51-49.
51%, 71 votes.
You can't end it yet. You can't end
No,
it
I won't. I'll keep it going. Yeah, I'll keep
with
it going. It's
1% difference. It's that's what Dork definitely has better taste than Prestige. Since when?
Sonny knows, you see.
Since
He's the
when?
man.
So far it's 3 for 1, and it might be 3 for 2, and this was surprisingly close.
Someone's asked reef safe. I suspect these probably peck at SPS.
I don't think they are reef safe. I think they're one of the fish which is reef safe with caution.
But there are some of these gobies. Let's have a look. They make their nests in SPS polyps, don't they?
Yeah.
Where's reef safe? Doesn't say. I'm not missing that. I can't. Okay. It doesn't say. But yeah, maybe not. But look it up. There's probably. I can't believe that. I thought Live Aquarium always said reef safe.
It usually
I know,
does, doesn't it?
It does, but it's not there. But there are loads of like the little yellow clown gobies. I'm going to end the poll now, 50-50 pretty much. And because I'm winning. So.
Yeah.
But yellow clown gobies, they're not reef safe. It's crazy. And I've had one, and it battered my SPS.
Yeah,
tank.
they do. Yeah, it's they lay their eggs on it, don't they?
That's it. So they do it at the base. It was all my my bird's nest corals.
Yeah.
So they did it at the base, and they're really quite thick polyps for SPS. They do it at the base, which is like you say, where they want to lay their eggs. And they left everything else, but
Yeah.
I had to take them out.
The Ocean Project just said they're reef safe with corals, but not with small nanofish, which is what I thought as well.
Oh, well, so they eat fish?
And yeah, like really, really, really little ones.
Like, what's the goby that likes cooler temperatures? Carolina Blenny?
Oh, there's the
Tiny
one with
one.
the blue face. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, so some of the really small ones. Okay, and actually the poll, when I clicked finish, it said 50% cool, 49% uncool. So that's 1% didn't have an answer.
Oh,
Catalina.
it
Goby, that's
disappeared.
the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Catalina. This is right. So this is one that I will jump back. This is one that I was going to put on my list. Purple firefish.
I consider a filefish as well, but I was going to go for a Hillfrix filefish.
Hell freaky. Oh, so I bought a hell freaky firefish for like £1 million. I traded in a load of frags
Yeah.
and got it. Basically got it half price for like 80 quid. But I think that the purple firefish is easy to keep. It's peaceful. It's reef safe, and they're one of the fish that that always get recommended for beginners. And if you watch any of my fish where I talk about best fish for beginners,
Yeah.
you will not see this guy because look at it.
Boring is what the ocean products have said, and that's why I've never had one. I've never had a firefish. Just never wanted one.
Do you think they're boring?
They're just there's something about them. I know they're a bit finicky where they are.
They're wimpy.
Yes,
If
and
you
they'll
put
hide
them with
and sometimes you don't
anything,
see 'em.
yeah, feisty, yeah. But that just it looks like it's done. It's got bad makeup on.
Yeah.
But I thought I'm surprised that you and Sean like that because I thought most people love these. Boring.
Yeah, a few people were saying boring.
Boring. Oh wow. Maybe cool if you had 10 to 50. Yeah, to be fair, a shoulder of anything would be cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to run a poll on this then because I thought most people would be like, yeah, awesome, I love them.
I saw a really, really unusual red firefish once, and it had like a pink stripe on it, but this pink stripe was much different to it was like much more vibrant, and it also was in like a weird place on it. It's hard to describe it without. I'm googling pictures to see if I can find anything similar to it.
There's what with I actually think the hell freaky looks a really cool fish.
Yeah.
But they are such wimps. My tank, I don't like any aggression whatsoever. I was talking to you about purple tangs yesterday. That's what it was. We'll come back to that. And it was slightly aggressive and I didn't like it. I just hate all forms of aggression, even if it's just occasionally nipping and that sort of stuff. It stresses me out.
Yeah.
So I don't have an aggressive tank. I put him in. I never saw him. So he'd peek out his head every now and then.
Yeah.
And he died after, I don't know, a month. He just disappeared.
And they
jump. Yeah, they do. This one didn't jump, but he was so timid, like unbelievably timid. The only other fish I've had that's been as timid as this, weirdly, was a foxface. I got a tiny baby foxface. Foxface are really timid. People say it, and you're like, no. But when they're small, mega timid. But the firefish goby, I found was so timid. It was unbelievable. And I think if I was to get one again, I'd only have it in a tank where there's only a couple of other fish and that mega peaceful fish, like no clownfish, maybe some gobies, a blenny, that sort of thing. 55% no likely.
It's interesting.
I thought people would love that.
No, I'm putting this down for one for me if it ends as no liking.
Well, I don't like him either. I'm going to end it there because we've got 72 votes.
Yeah.
How many people are watching? Actually, I don't know. 212. So, all right. I think that's a pretty good. Yeah.
Is that just you clicking 72 times really quickly?
No, I've not even clicked once, but yeah, I should be doing that. I've got 4 YouTube accounts, so I should go on and click it 4 times. But
I've got one which it will hurt. This I'm not even sure I wanted to say this because it will hurt my feelings. There's actually 2, but Swiss Guard Bacillate is one of my favourite fish, and that's not the really expensive one.
Is that the £1,000 one?
No,
that's the cheaper
no,
one,
that's the peppermint bacillate. This is an affordable bacillate, which looks pretty similar but slightly different color. And there's something about them. I love their character. You don't see them all the time, but you also don't see them once every 6 months. They're like, it's like when you see it, you're like, oh, it's a good day because I saw it today.
So I'm going to post 2 photos.
Yeah.
The first one is going to be the photo of what you'll see on the internet.
Yeah.
And what the internet tells you it looks like. And the second one is what it actually looks like.
Oh, that is what it looks like. That is exactly what it looks like.
You are mistaken. Okay?
I've got one.
That again. Live aquarium photos. I'm not having a pop at live aquaria. They are good. They're excellent photos. In
Yeah.
fact, really really good. I like them. I
Yeah.
like the website. I don't buy from them, of course, in America, but they are taken under perfect lighting. So I don't know if they use flash photography, but they are very very well lit.
Yeah.
When you see them in the shops, they look like this.
I actually prefer that one. That looks
Oh,
even
well, there you
better.
go. So I'm not. So I don't think it does, but that is, and that to me looks like it might even be taken in the wild because of the yellow
Yeah.
lighting, or maybe under halides or something.
Yeah, it could be.
But that is how they look in real life versus that.
That is one of my favorite fish. I just think
there you go.
they're a very unique character. They're sort of like secretive, but they're not too secretive, and they're not. Mine's not aggressive anyway. I don't know what it would be like with small fish if it was the biggest fish in the tank. They're easy to feed. I think they're reasonably expensive now. They didn't used to be. I think my original one was £60, but I'm sure I've seen them at like 150 now. There was one that had a misbar, didn't it? Do you remember the one in Abyss? It wasn't a misbar. It was missing all the bands on it.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it was £1,500. If they weren't $200, we wouldn't talk about them. That is so wrong because, as I said, they used to be 60.
I think they're cheap because because the pretty ones, the peppermint ones, are so expensive, and I would love the peppermint ones. It's just because it's such a shy fish, the £2,000 price tag feels like 10,000 to me.
Oh yeah. No, I would never buy the expensive one.
I would, do you know? Well, I don't know if I could bring myself to part with that kind of money.
All right, money bags.
No, well, that's it. And actually, so I don't have that kind of money to throw around on a fish. But I'm talking about like if money were no object,
Yeah.
I would buy one of those. I think.
Have you ever seen one in real life?
Yeah. Sean had one, Ocean Project.
Oh, did he?
And
Yeah,
I've seen a few. AAC had some, maybe even Reef Dreams. Yeah.
I've only ever seen
In
one.
fact, yeah, Reef Keeper Windsor, my Reef Keeper Marseille, my local had a couple in, and I was thinking about it, but just I would have had to put it on the credit card and pay it off over 6 months, and it's like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, of course.
And also with that sort of thing, I think if it died, oh man, I'd be so gutted.
Yeah, it's a sort of if I had the expensive one, it's almost like I'd want it in a separate tank by itself. So do you see what I mean? Where
yeah.
It's like a
Don't
show.
know one to mess with it.
It's not that.
But then it'd be sad if it's on its own.
No, I doubt it. Look, people go fish are sad on their own, but on the other hand, when you put fish together, half the time they try and kill each other. So
yeah, true. But I think it would be sad for me to watch one of those fish on its own, though, because like if you ever seen a goldfish, even if they're not sad, they look bloody sad, don't they? Just like.
Yeah. That Sean's right. They're hardy fish as well. So
okay.
But if you want to do a poll on that, it's up to you. But as I said, it'll break my heart. So it's almost certainly going to lose now.
I'm not going to do a poll on that, but we've had enough comments in there, and I think that people mostly don't like them.
Oh!
The poor man's candy basslet.
Yeah, well, of course. That's because it's a cheaper version of a very similar fish.
Do you know what? I did a video that was something like the most expensive fish in the world and alternatives you can afford instead.
That's one I actually saw. I actually saw that video.
Oh, did you? So it wasn't. I didn't use this one. It was a Swales basslet I chose,
I know.
which someone else mentioned, and there we go. Yeah, Sunny called. And I put that down as the poor man's peppermint basslet.
Yeah, but even those I actually think those ones are worse than the Swiss Guard basslets. They're uglier.
Swale. I mean, you're wrong.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay, let me see.
You get some bassets which are completely pink as well.
I tell you what. First off, let me just pull this up and show the good people of the internet. So the one on the right is the one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, you picked a nice well-lit picture for your one, didn't you?
oh, did I? How did that happen? Sorry, I clicked on the wrong button. And the one on the one on the right is the one yours.
How is Sonny saying I'm wrong? No.
Oh, do you know what? Dr. Seuss fish. Have you seen the Dr. Seuss fish?
Yeah. They're the deep water ones, aren't they?
They are, but they are another fish that you see the live aquaria photo and you're like, oh my God, I would sacrifice my firstborn to Lucifer for that fish. And then you see them in an actual fish and it's like, all right, try to get the because the annoying thing is when you Google Dr. Seuss fish, it just comes up with all the pictures of the Dr. Seuss fish, soap fish, Dr. Seuss.
Sorry, I don't understand, but I found something related.
Alexa, stop.
Do you want to know?
Shut up. In fact, that was Google. Right, so I'll show you the live aquaria photo. And I'll have to get rid of that first. Here we go. So this is, in fact, this is Reef Builders, but it is the live aquaria photo. And pull that up. Add a dynamic. There we go. So that.
No, not.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for you.
Nothing.
Oh, no way. See, that to me is absolutely amazing. Right, we're having a poll
Isn't that
on
like
this one.
thousands of pounds as well?
Oh, yeah, like 10 Gs if you're lucky.
Oh, that literally, I don't see why anyone would buy that.
Okay.
It comes down to rarity, I assume, but
I think that comes down to. Okay, I'm gonna phrase this so beautiful. Beauty.
is Ryan wrong? Yes or no?
What's the alternative option to beautiful? Boring that you want for this one?
It's not boring. It's just weird.
Right.
It's got one of those jaws you don't like.
No, only it's got an underbite. Yeah, that's quite cool.
Oh, we just
So
got
I've gone
saying,
for
we got
beautiful
horrible
or
coming. Meh. I'm gonna go for meh on that one.
Wait, stop clicking. I can't cancel that out.
Well, I'm allowed to. Yeah, look, gross, horrible, meh. It doesn't look bad, just meh.
Really? I think that that is for the reason I was bringing that photo up is because if you see them in real life, and I've not seen one in the flesh, don't get me wrong, but I've seen less manicured photos, less perfected photos, and they don't look like that. They just don't. They don't look as cool. They are very rare, and that's why they're very expensive. And I do kind of like rarity. That does sort of get my motor running a little bit, but not really. And I'd have to sell a car. I'd have to sell my car to
I don't know if it applies to this fish, but I just wanted to point something out because you just said very rare. Very rare and very rare in the hobby are two very different things. So very rare in the hobby means they're usually a deep water fish like this one, when they're not easy to collect. That doesn't necessarily mean they're rare in the ocean. So people often think that rare fish are rare in the wild, but that isn't how it works.
So I've just got rid of the wrong screen. No, so actually that's very true. And what was I going to say? What's a good example of that? What's the raw time butterfly fish?
Yeah.
So they're stunning fish for a start. Really rare in the hobby. I've seen maybe one in the flesh in a shop, maybe two. I've seen a few in people's tanks, but only ever one in with my own eyes in front of me. But in the wild, billions of them.
I've just thought of a fish. 1 second.
We're going to end the poll.
That's fine.
80%, pretty much. It's sort of meh for the Dr. Seuss soapfish. I'm surprised. This is genuinely interesting.
I've got a really interesting one because we agree on this fish, and I'm interested if the other people will agree. Japanese swallowtail angelfish.
Oh God, don't! Oh my God, that's given me a big
I have
chubby
tried to get this fish. I have tried hard to get this fish, and they are not easy to get hold of. And sometimes people think that they've got one for you, and it turns out to be a completely different one.
I think that people are not gonna like this.
No, that's the female. Show the male one.
The male? What do you want a male one for?
The males are the ones with the yellow on them. They're way nicer.
God's sake, you've just got no taste, have you?
Are you telling me that the female,
This one?
Yes. How are you saying it's not as nice as the
Okay, we're gonna yeah. But the thing is, so the male is massive. That's another thing that I don't like. That's a bad photo. Reef Bum. Keith Berkelhammer's got one of these. The females.
Yeah.
And it's stunning. You're right. That the male is more striking. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is about the female. It's just I just think if I could. And actually, I went looking for one of these. I found one in my local fish shop about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy it because it was shaking its head, and I thought maybe it's got flukes. And I was like, I'm going to come back in a couple of weeks and see. And then it'd gone, and I've not seen one again since. And I've asked every shop in the country if they can get one, and they just don't get imported.
I've seen one male, once.
Okay.
It was expensive, and I wish I'd bought it, and I didn't because I've wanted it ever since then.
Okay. I'm going to go with just yay or nay.
You can do them as a pair rather than.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe. They're just too big for a pair for me. For my tank. So if I had a bigger tank, I'd be all over that.
I don't know if they're the same as these, but just a normal swallowtail pair of angelfish. I've had females turn into males and turn back.
Oh, really?
And I've had, well, it might not be the same fish. I've had males turn into females and females turn into males. And I think that, and this is just a guess, you only ever see massive males. And I think it's because they all, this is just a guess. This could be completely wrong. And Sean at the Ocean Project might tell me this is wrong. But I wonder if they all start as female and then eventually turn into a male when they get to a certain size. But I definitely, 100% certain, I've never seen a small male.
Okay. Yeah, I don't recall. I think I only. Oh, maybe I've not even seen one a male.
Male of any swallowtails.
Oh, right. I see. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They always come in like
They're
3
big.
times the size as the females. Females are like this,
Yeah.
and the males
Yeah,
are like
yeah.
this.
Yeah. Melanospilos. Which one is that one? Is that the?
I think that's the one that you just showed.
Genicanthus. It's not the. No, that's multifasciatus or semifasciatus.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Melanospilos. Oh, that's the standard swallowtail.
Nah.
Which and this is. Yeah, here we go. Oh, cookies. Whoever invented cookies.
It only happens in England where you have to accept them. It doesn't happen around the world. Yeah,
just accept them. I don't care. I don't care about cookies. Why? Oh, it's a European Union thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Drives me crazy. Anyway, so this is. Oh, actually, that's the same. That's
the male.
Yeah. So there you go. So that is the normal swallowtail. Here we go. That one.
Yeah.
The normal swallowtail. And for me, that's just a bit boring. I'm like, it's all right. I've considered buying one. Come on, load. I've considered buying one because I can't get hold of the Japanese one, but they're and that's a bright, overexposed photo, but a bit boring for me.
Yeah, they are nice fish. I have had one before. A long time ago, I had one.
Reef safe angelfish. Can't argue with that. Right, so I'm going to end the poll on the Japanese masked swallowtail. It was basically 50-50. 54% nay, yay 45.
So we're both wrong on this one.
We're both wrong, but only just.
But do you think that comes down to a refined taste of like?
Because we're so sophisticated.
No, what I'm saying is we've been in the hobby a long time, so we want something that makes us go, "Wow, I've not seen that before," and that's what that fish does for me.
Yeah. I think so, and that's for me. It's not because it's rare. It's because I don't know what it is. It's just cool. But yeah, you're right. This is a really good one. Oh, and by the way, cookies happens in the US too, apparently.
Oh, does it? No, you have it there, but we have to accept them on every website, don't we? Every time.
Decline. This is a really good one. I think this will split opinion. Thoughts on blotched antheas? Oh, I'm so glad you pulled that face. What's the actual name? Borbonius. Borbonius antheas.
Look, they're all right, but I just think the standard antheas look nicer. They're more like brightly coloured. What are they called, the standard ones? I'm
just loading up the picture, but I've got to accept cookies first. So let's do that.
Right. What's the one that? It's like on the. I know the Latin name. It's like it begins with S for the normal ones. You know the orange ones.
Oh, squammy.
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
Wreckfish.
I like those. They're like goldfish with eyeliner on.
Goldfish with eyeliner. So I'm going to try to do the same as I've done before, where I pull up 2 photos. I can't really find the second photo annoying me. Okay, right. Do you know what? So Borbonius antheas, for those of you who don't know, this is a blotched anthea.
That's a good picture.
It's a very good picture.
Yes.
It's slightly overexposed, and I suspect that looks a bit like they've played with the highlights and the saturation, and they've bumped a few things up. But I used to love this fish. I used to think it was awesome. Have you seen the BRS 360?
Yeah. They've got massive.
They've got a couple. Exactly. They're like this big.
I know.
And when they get big, they get dull.
Yeah, not for me.
for me, these are a really ugly fish. That fish there, that photo,
Yeah, it makes it look good.
looks stunning.
Yeah.
But this is like an expectation versus reality. But so you and I don't like this.
Another ugly anthea, which some people like, are the square spot antheas. Have you seen the ones with the big pink square on them?
Hang on, antheas. I'll come back to that. Yay or nay? I'm going to post that again. Blotch antheas, because I'm really interested to see what people think about this. Because and based on that photo, I mean, to be fair, if you look at that photo, I think most people will say they're cool.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find a photo when they're looking drab and older. So
Just remember when you're voting on this that they're incredibly expensive.
I stopped trying. Oh, they are quite expensive. 381 quid. Wow.
Yes.
Stop trying to influence people.
I'm not influencing them. I'm just making people aware.
50-50. Oh, yeah, lots of nays. Oh, yes. It's close. But I thought this would be like 90% yay, because that photo, when they're young, they look really cool, in my opinion. And I like that you don't have to have a shoal of them.
I think the majority of people like them because they're rare and expensive, not because they're like really cool, brightly coloured fish.
Interesting. What do you think about rare and expensive? Do you think that's a legitimate reason to buy a fish? Does that do anything for you?
Absolutely. Like, not just me, for everyone. Not everyone, but a lot of people, they buy things because... Think about all the people that bought gem tangs when they were £1,500.
Yeah.
And I only want a black tang because I can't get a black tang.
But okay. So you do like, if something's rare and expensive, it turns you on, basically.
I like something that you don't see very often. But the problem is, once you've got it and you see it very often, it loses its appeal. So I feel no differently about my gem tang than I do my purple or yellow or Scopaz tang. I don't feel special. I feel nothing. It's just the same as all of them. So I expect that if I got a black tang, I'd feel exactly the same way. At first, I'd be like, wow, this is cool. And then after a while, I'd be like, it's just the same as all the other ones.
Okay. Well, on that subject, then, I'm going to post a photo. Is that a good photo? It's not a bad photo. I'm going to post a photo of a fish, and I don't want you to say what you think of it, and I'm not going to say what I think of it. And I'm going to get a poll up. Okay, so there we go. This is a fish. No commenting. This is a De Jongi grammer. Okay,
yeah.
So it's like a royal grammer, but it's inverse colours.
Yeah.
The Yong, HNGI. I probably spelled that wrong.
Are they perfectly inverse colours? No, they're not, are they? Because I'm trying to think of a royal grammar. They're half and half, aren't they?
Yeah. And I'm just going to go yay or nay. So I'm not going to try to influence anybody with the question, the way of phrasing the options, just that. And I'll come on and I'll in a sec, because we'll get 50 votes in like 5 seconds, which is what we've seen so far. So let's just give it a sec, because I looked at this fish when I set up my Fluval Evo behind me.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, I've got a select few fish that I can have in that tank, probably 3. So I want to get the coolest fish possible. Right. Okay. So now we've got 77%.
Yeah.
I think that is a really cool fish.
Yeah, I clicked yes as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
but
I did.
The reason I posted it was because I eventually decided not to get it, because I thought that the only reason I thought it was cool is because it was so expensive. Because in reality, a royal grammer is a bit more interesting than that. Is what I decided. I'm not sure if that's right. I'm not sure if that's genuinely how I feel. I can't work out.
Now, the first thing, for people who don't know this, they are like very expensive. They're like hundreds. Someone's written 800. That might be right. That might not be right. But they are.
When I was looking at them, they were. I think I saw some for as low as like 700, but they were normally about 1,500, 2,000 pounds.
Yes, they're very expensive. Would I buy that fish? No. But would I buy a royal grammer? Also no. But I just don't
really?
I think it's a cool looking fish, but I don't want it, if you see what I mean. Okay. I've never been interested in royal grammars, and that's just a royal grammer.
Everybody's got a royal grammer, haven't they?
Not me.
But they're just really popular. Okay, so I'll end the poll there. 77% say yes, and I agree with that. But they're just so expensive, and I was trying to work out, how do I actually feel about this? Am I just looking at it going, wow, it's £2,000, it's awesome? or do I actually like it? And I couldn't work out which it was. And I was
Yeah.
trying to work out how I would feel in 6 months' time. Probably overthinking it massively.
I know how you feel in 6 months' time. You wouldn't feel special about it anymore.
No,
You'd be looking for
probably
the next expensive fish to buy.
Maybe, but I've never spent anything like that kind of money on a fish. Not even.
Yeah.
I think about 250 was the most for a cold tang, whitetail cold tang.
Well, that's
Royal
what I
Grammar
wanted to
better.
get onto. I wanted
Okay.
to get
Oh
onto
yeah,
that
that was
because
the one on the thumbnail.
and at the very, very beginning, I said about that tang that you told me about yesterday. We should do that one because
Oh,
I think this will
that was the
divide.
cold tang, not the purple tang.
Yeah, it was the cold tang.
Right,
Purples
so
are
that's
like
what
hands down. Purples are great.
they're cool. Yeah, they're cool. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, interestingly, we got 90 votes on that last one, which is more than most of the polls on the De Jonge grammar. I think that's because it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the cold tang. So that's the reason I put that on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Because this was the one that you and I started talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
At the pub, because that's how cool we are. And I love that fish. I think it's really, really cool. And that was in my top 6 favorite fish from Friday. I just think he looks so awesome. And I got rid of my purple tang because I know, but I got rid of my purple tang because he was bullying my copper band, and I wanted to replace him, so I got that white tail coal tang.
I do not understand why you're going to pick an amazing picture.
I'm not actually. There are, and this is one thing we talked about with the photos, but I'll show you in a second.
Some of them look really pink, don't they, in the photos?
This I think is relatively accurate.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because he's got a bit of yellow. The body is kind of pink, but it's quite deep purple. Mine looks generally deep purple. If I play around with the settings on my camera, I can get this part, the pinky, the light coloured bit, to look brighter. But most of the time, the colour of his face is how I see his body. And occasionally, when he turns in the light, I get flashes of his body, and it looks like that colour, that light colour.
Yeah.
So that for me is an accurate photo.
Okay, so this is how we're going to do this one, because you removed a tang for that fish. You took one out.
No, that's not quite true. I removed the purple tang because he was bullying my copper band.
Okay.
And I couldn't get a purple. The purple tang is better. Oh, is he? No, do you know what? I don't know. Is that where you're going with this?
Where I'm going with this is, considering that fish cost £240, I would pick almost any other tang other than that fish.
Okay, all right.
I don't. It just doesn't do it for me. If you want a fish that's that shape, go for a chevron tang. Now the baby chevron tangs are cool.
Quite cool, but they get big.
And they also change color, so they're not as cool when they're bigger. But almost any other tang I would have over that one.
Okay, whitetail coal tang
versus almost any other tang.
Whitetail.
Think about it. You've got the Soho tang. You've got the Caribbean blue tang is so underrated. They're one of the blue version of a Caribbean blue tang, because they start off as a bright yellow and then they turn blue.
The mere mention of the Caribbean tang sent me off to sleep. So
Do you not like them?
No, I think they're boring. And they're massive. But you like big tangs. I don't like big tangs.
Yeah. See, I've got refined taste in
big
tangs.
Tangs and I cannot lie. Okay, so no way, 63%, 70%.
I know.
Anything else? No. That for me is like that's a showcase fish. That's the sort of thing, like if my friends came round, they're probably looking at the clownfish, but I'll be like, "Oh, have you seen this one? Have you seen this one?"
And they'll be like, "Why? It's so boring."
Look at that white tail. Where else do you see that? And the yellow, the flecks on the face, the lines down the body, the different colour body.
I love how you're like, look at that white tail, as if white's the most exciting colour.
Brilliant white. How many fish do you see that are like brilliant white? Like the bandit angel, maybe?
No.
I'm surprised.
I'm not even remotely surprised. Think of all the other tangs, all the zebrasoma tangs, the yellows and purples. That is a fish you only bought because it's expensive and because you don't see it very often.
Partly, yes, and I'll admit that, but also because they don't get too big.
Yeah.
And then aggression was another thing as well. But the trouble is, so a lot of people report these as being very aggressive.
Yeah.
My experience, and I let myself be guided on that, because some normal coal tangs aren't that aggressive. These are more aggressive, and I kind of ignored the people who were saying they're aggressive. I found him to be really peaceful, except my 2 flasher asses, and he killed them, basically bullied them to death. so vicious.
Almost
But
the
apart-
classification of really peaceful then.
Well, exactly. But since they've gone,
Yeah.
he's been completely peaceful.
Yeah. That's like saying a prisoner's really, really peaceful after he murdered 3 of his inmates he didn't like, but now he's fine.
He's reformed, yeah. But okay, but that so it partly was because they were expensive. But I wanted something similar to the closest thing to the purple tang that wasn't a purple tang, and that is what I came up with. Because I love that purple tang. I think he's really cool. But other tangs for me, gem tang cool, yellow tang, not really my thing, but I get it. Purple tang cool. Desjardins tang is cool.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have them. And after that, I'm like,
I've got all of them. I have so many tangs, even the unusual ones. I've got the mimic tangs, where I've got 2 mimic tangs.
I'm ending the poll, by the way. 90 votes, 64% didn't like it. Anyway,
I've got almost all the Zebrasoma tangs, and I've got loads of Acanthus tangs as well. I love tangs, whereas you have no interest in them, do you?
No, do you know the mimic tangs are cool though? I saw in Reefkeeper Moss End there is currently an Abley angelfish mimic tang.
Oh yeah.
And I love Abley angelfish. They're one of my favourite fish, but I can't have one because they eat corals. But the mimic tang version, they don't look quite as cool, but interesting. By the way, just carry in a sec. In the stream, if there are other fish, a lot of what I found is when we've been going along, the fish you guys suggest are the ones that prompt the most interest and get us talking. So if there are fish you feel particularly strongly about, think they're awesome or ugly, then post them and we'll do a poll on them as well.
What, out of interest, you didn't spend an awful lot of time looking at the fish in the coral farm yesterday. No. Which was the best tang that you? What's the one that's the most striking? You probably won't remember it. But
the tang that I remember, because you've got a lot of tangs. There are 2 that I can remember seeing.
Yeah.
Dory.
Yes. Yeah.
And the Sohal tang.
Yeah, there's obviously the Sohal tang is like a foot long.
7 feet long. Yeah, exactly.
What about the powder blue? That's such
powder blue is cool. Yeah, powder blue is very cool.
Someone mentioned about a big fat powder blue. That one I've had for 7 years, and you see that is like a show fish, isn't it?
Yeah, they are, and it doesn't have white spot, which is amazing because I would love one of those. Apart from 3 things.
3, yeah.
It's going to get aggressive as hell. They get big and need a lot of swimming space.
Yeah.
And it's going to get white spot and wipe out every fish in my tank. Apart from that,
yeah.
And they are absolute, but they are stunning. They are up there for me. Achilles tang, actually. Do you not like Achilles tang?
No, I like Achilles tangs. Don't get me wrong. I love Achilles tangs.
We can't be friends anymore if you don't like Achilles tangs.
Achilles tangs are what. So there's some fish that you go not worth the hassle.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
And if you're spending £600 on an Achilles tang these days, and it's not like you're spending £600 on a basilisk, which has an 80% chance of survival. You're spending like £600 on an Achilles tang, which has a 5% chance of survival.
And it's going to do the same as the powder blue. It's going to kill all your other fish because they're aggressive. Yes. It's going to get massive and it's going to get white spot. Just to look at, that is for me is the best looking tang. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
But I'm going to find. So I'm going to go through these suggestions and see what. The trouble is, there's millions.
Someone's written Flame Angel versus Rusty Angel. The hands down, the Flame Angel. Rusty's are so ugly.
Completely, yeah. The Golden Angel, they're quite cool.
Yeah, I had one of those. You hardly ever see them.
Secretive, yeah.
Yeah, you hardly ever see them.
Curious wormfish. I've heard of them, but I can't picture it.
No idea what that is. I'm going to Google that.
Copper band, too easy. Most people are like a copper band. You're banned if you don't. Yellow long-nosed butterfly. Ooh, versus copper band. Andy, I like that very much. Firstly, it's the comment has come through, but it hasn't shown up on my feed yet. Carlos Lopez, you've done a super chat and you've suggested a Tomini tang. So I'll do. In fact, do you know what? Tomini tang. Which one's that? Oh, they're boring. I don't like Tomini tangs. I can't find a comment, Carlos.
They got like little flame, like it's like.
I have one.
Yeah.
In my yeah. Carlos, I can't see. It's not come up in the chat as yet, but we'll come back to that in a sec when it does come up on the chat. So start a poll: copper band versus yellow longnose.
Copper band for me.
Copper band.
Well, look, one has a higher survival rate than the other. One's more likely to eat than the other, but one of them is better looking than the other.
Okay, and I'm gonna assume butterfly versus yellow
Just so you know,
longnose.
this has been one of my favorite streams of all the streams we've done. And do you
Me
remember at
too.
the start, you were like, when we spoke just before, we were like, not really sure how this one's going to go.
Well, I hadn't worked out what we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
not really. I kind of thought it was a brilliant idea, and then I was like, oh shit, what we actually? I don't. And now I'm loving this, and I just love how seeing what other people think is genuinely. It's
yeah.
so different to what I thought. Right, so I'm going to assume everyone knows the difference between a copper band and a yellow longnose. This is a tough call for me. Copper band wins my vote,
Yeah, yeah,
but the
man.
yellow longnose is a stunning fish and a lot less likely to
Die.
die.
Yes.
Although I tried a couple of yellow longnoses years ago,
Yeah.
and they both died.
I
So I don't think they're hardy. I was quite junior then. I was probably a year or two into the hobby, year maybe.
I remember seeing one once that they put feeder shrimp in, and it, you know, like big feeder shrimp, and it would attack and kill and eat the feeder shrimp. You expect that from
Really?
like a triggerfish, but not from a longnose.
Interesting. First off, whilst we're waiting for that poll to come in, Regal Angel is doing very well. It's only a couple of months, so I can't really say anything. But he's brilliant. He's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
He's not touching any of my corals. He's out and about most of the time. He's just cool. Yeah. Long-nosed butterfly shape is off. Do you think shape? I don't know what you mean by that.
It's almost like the nose is too long. It doesn't fit
Okay.
its face, the rest of its body properly, and it has like a really sharp upward bit.
Fair enough. Oh, hang on. You guys are engaging the audience. That's why. And this is the thing. So we've said this before. I think we've said this before. But the chats when we get you at home to talk and engage are wicked. It's all well and good us saying, "Hey, put a comment," but it's our job. It's my job
Yeah.
to get you guys to give you something interesting that you want to get involved in. If I just say, "Hey, make a comment," it's like, well, no. You're the one who's leading this. Tell us what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and this has been wicked, and I love it when the audience gets engaged like this and finds something that we're all passionate about. Because the other thing with, so you said I didn't look at the fish much yesterday at your
Yeah,
farm,
yeah.
and I am a coral man more than a fish
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
But don't I've loved fish still.
No, yeah, of course.
And they're the thing that's everyone always says fish get you into the hobby, and then you move on to corals.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have a time. And this is why. So my video on Friday, it was the fish I like the most, not just utility value. And
Yeah, yeah.
worldwide corals pick fish on utility. And it's really good advice. Absolute. You'll probably have a better tank if you do that. But I don't want fish that are utility fish.
Yeah.
I want fish that I think look awesome. And ideally, if they're utility as well. But I couldn't have a fish just of utility fish.
They
Okay, 91 votes, 73% copper band, 27% yellow longnose.
I've got an interesting one, and I don't want us to influence it. I don't want us to say
Okay.
anything
I
because
can't find. I just one lot before you do that. I still, Carlos. I can't find your comment on my stream, on my thread. You suggested the Tommy Tang, so I can't find it. I'm afraid it's disappeared, which is weird because I can see it on YouTube. But thank you for the super chat, and yeah, we've discussed the Tommy Tang. Carry on. You had a fish.
we discussed it yesterday, the pajama cardinal fish, because
Okay.
there's something that let's just see what people say.
Pajama card.
They're a very unique fish, is all I'll say. And I'm not giving anything else. I'm not saying if I like them or dislike them, or if you like them or dislike them. I'm just saying I think it'd be an interesting one to do.
Most people will know, I think, what a pajama cardinal fish is anyway.
Yeah.
But there we go. £18.52 at aquatics2yourdoor.co.uk.
Not bad price.
It's not a great photo, actually. But there you
Yeah,
go.
it's not.
Pajama cardinal fish. Let's put a poll up. Start a poll. Pie.
Fish get you into the hobby, then move you on to coral. It was Ryan's video on coral that got me in. Oh, nice. It's nice.
What about my videos?
No one watches
Yeah.
your videos.
No.
maybe just
right.
me.
Yeah, well, yeah, you don't at all. Pajama cardinal fish, yay or nay? And we'll, I think it'll take. Here we go. Absolutely lame. Nocturnal. That's why they're boring. Don't hold back. A shoal of 20 would be cool. Otherwise, no. Like a slightly less attractive. if it was £125, more people would like them. That's
I'm
an
interested
interesting.
also. I am interested in Sean's opinion of the Ocean Project because not his opinion on them, but how many of them he sells. Because if he sells a lot of them, if he I don't know if he has those in his shop regularly, then that shows that people want them. I think this is a fish which people buy.
Okay. Okay, so we'll cut. Sean, tell us answer the question. BN3 Reefing, £1.79. Thank you very much for the super chat. Mandarin Dragonet. I mean, you're not going to get many people. I'm assuming Prestige Reef. Don't pull that face. Honestly, I can kick you out.
Look, I think that Mandarin Dragonets are the perfect example of a fish that looks well cool in pictures, but in real life looks mostly brown.
What? What are you doing? All right, we'll come back to that.
No,
We'll
remember,
come back
my
to
lighting's very blue, so under
Yeah,
blue
but
lighting,
still.
they look mostly brown.
Okay, so firstly, I'm going to end the poll and we'll talk about the pajama. So 70-30, 70% are nay and don't like them. And you and I agree on this. I've thought about doing a video, top 5 boring fish in the hobby and 5 great alternatives.
Yeah.
And that would be on there. I think they're so dull.
Oh,
So
pajama cardinals,
boring.
yeah.
Yeah. Sean sells loads of them. But then I think the same about the firefish. So
People like them because they look like they're. If you show someone who knows nothing about fish a pajama cardinal, they love them.
Yeah.
It looks like they're wearing little spotty pajamas. It's like they're like a really unusual looking fish.
I think they're just boring as sin. It's like the orangey brownie.
I know, but as I said, people like them. I'm not. I click no. I don't like them, but it's something I noticed that when if you show people who don't know about fish or like new people in the hobby, they're like, "Wow, look at that weird looking fish. I need to have that."
Okay. Okay, so Mandarin Dragonet is going to be the next one.
I prefer the green Mandarin Dragonets, the spotted ones, over the other ones. So, but I genuinely I have the other one. You see the lights in my tank are quite blue, and under like quite heavily blue lights, they just look brown. And also, they have a habit of just starving and dying. So it's not a fish I encourage people to get.
I absolutely would agree. From that point of view, they're a terrible fish to buy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I'm going to share my screen because it's got a load of photos. So I'm not going to try to input that. So that's what we're talking about. Of
That
course,
one
which I'm
looks,
sure
that picture there, the big one looks amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now
they all
pick one
do.
where the light looks quite blue. It doesn't look as amazing, and even in that picture.
How's that one?
That's a red. That's a different type of dragon. That's a red one.
Yeah. Nonetheless, it's a red Mandarin
Yeah,
Dragonet.
yeah.
Look at that. I mean, cool Ban Ryan 95%.
Yeah. Ben Ryan. I haven't clicked this yet. I didn't say they were boring. I just said that unless they're under the correct lighting, they don't look anywhere near as good as they're one of those pictures of a fish where you look at it and you go, that looks amazing. And then if you turned up and you put it in your tank, you go, that doesn't look like it does in the pictures. I really think
No, I don't think that at all. They are exactly as stunning
No.
as in the flesh as they
No.
are. Ryan, 86%. So get out.
Look, I'll put you down as winning that one, but so far I think we're 6 polls to. Oh, you just banned me, haven't you?
Self instead.
Did you just ban me? Because I just.
He's gone. He's gone. Guys, don't worry. I've got rid of him. You can't have that.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, I'm staggered because that's like they're a terrible fish to buy and it's gonna die. But man, they're so amazing, and the character, the way they swim, like, and their fins are constantly doing this.
Look, they're a cool
offends me.
fish, but I'm just saying that you know how sometimes you'll buy a coral or whatever online, and then it turns up and you're like, this coral looks brown, it looks different. Yeah, that is what dragonets are for me. They don't have that real vibrant green metallic look to them when they're in your tank. They just don't.
I think they look as good in the flesh as they do in pictures for me.
Well, yeah, but
I had one.
Yeah, but at the moment we're winning 6-3, which means your opinion doesn't mean that much these days.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Okay, a random question, and I'm sure this guy asked the other week. What do you think of whale sharks?
It's well,
They're cool. I don't think I'd have one. I don't think they're reef safe, but you know.
They probably
As
are.
in-
They probably are reef safe.
Well, but they'd crush your corals, wouldn't they? But,
Yeah, true.
anyway, so I'm going to end that poll. 83 votes,
Yeah.
90%.
I knew I was in for a rough ride on that
You're on
one.
a hiding to nothing. Okay. So the other one that someone suggested, Carlos, was the Tomini. Was it the Tomini tang?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll bring that up and we'll talk about the Tomini or the Tamini, whichever you want to call it. So I have one of these, I should say, in my water box tank, and this is one of those fish that I bought because it's a utility. It's a small tang. I've had him for sod off. I've had him for over a year, and he's still small. But I think this is a really boring fish, so I am gonna lead, and probably everyone is gonna now say that they love him. What do you think?
I actually have always liked them. It's that lovely white tail that it's got. You know, that crisp white tail.
Shut up!
You
Yeah,
don't
if you
see
say
that.
that.
It's that crisp white tail. No, what I like is that when you get a car and someone's like done a paint job on it, so it looks like it's got flames. That's what that fish reminds me
Okay.
of.
Yeah, okay. Like a do you remember the Boost advert? Cadbury's Boost from the 90s? No, you're too young.
There's just
Anyway.
nothing. There's no other tangs that are quite like that fish, as far as I.
Thank God.
Maybe.
I just think they're boring. And they're not, for me, they're the worst kind of algae eating tang, because they're the ones that the bristle-tooth, they munch on the rocks all day long and they scrape.
Yeah.
But they actually, so if you get tufts of algae, they don't eat it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I have one, and I actually do. Why have you got one if you think they're so boring?
because I have a small tank and I know it'll stay small.
Yeah, I've always
And
liked
because, well, actually, that's probably why. But
I think you don't get that sort of orange color in any other fish. If you think
no,
about it.
I mean, clownfish, you never see clownfish, do you?
Oh,
What colour are they? Oh, no, they're orange, aren't they? Yeah.
Remember,
Convict tangs, yeah.
my clownfish are black and white, so that's probably why I didn't think of clownfish. But even
Someone asked earlier, actually, what clownfish I like the most. We'll come on to that in a sec.
even that is not a clownfish color. That clownfish colors are like really light orange, whereas that's like
Maybe.
fire orange.
Okay, well, I'm going to end the poll there because we've got 77. In fact, you know what? I'm going to leave the poll open because I'm crazy, and but 70% like, 30% don't like. Interesting. Clownfish. So, what clownfish? Simple question. What are your favourite clownfish? Because this is what I was asked.
I have a black ice clownfish. I got it a long time ago when they first came out.
Ice baby.
Well, let me see if black.
What? So I didn't ask you what clownfish you've got though. What's your favourite?
I don't really like any clownfish that much.
Not
I
even bog standard Pacula and Ocellaris.
I like the
Snowflake.
I like the normal ones more now because you see them hardly ever.
Yeah.
The pecan is it the Da Vinci clownfish? They're the ones I got like quite a lot, but you have to get the right pattern on them because you get good Da Vinci clownfish and then you get rubbish Da Vinci clownfish.
You do.
And I think if the band in the middle, I think, is not touching, I think I prefer that, where it looks like a paint dripping on them. And I know a lot of people like the what's the black ones that look like cows?
Oh yeah, the Black Storm.
Yeah, black storms and orange storms and mocha storms.
Yeah. So these are my Da Vinci's.
I
think they're really cool. These were actually cheap as well. They were like 50. I say cheap, 50 quid for the pair. And I think I like the fact that these look fairly similar to normal Paculas.
Yeah.
But with a cool pattern.
Yeah, if you look at the back of that one there, it's got that paint dripping effect on it. So on one side the bands are touching, on the other side they aren't touching.
There's actually, do you know what? Black Storm was the other one you mentioned. I've got a video of that. This is my fish. This is my YouTube library, by the way. So I've got thousands of clips of random fish. Let me pull that out of the way whilst it's loading. Not responding.
People went crazy for the black storms originally.
Yeah, they were expensive.
Yes, but there's a pretty big thing that I would say most people don't notice, but I do notice, and maybe you will notice.
They're cool. Look at them.
They are cool. Clownfish that are designer clownfish are incredibly inbred, and they so often have problems. They so often have like a big bulldog jaw or stunted tail. There's all these things, and if you don't know what you're looking at, it looks like a cool fish. But if you know what you're looking at, you're going, that looks like a very unhealthy fish.
I said I've never noticed a designer clownfish with like problems.
Yeah, there's the most common ones are bulging eyes and a really big jaw. I know you got a thing for jaws, so
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, I just they're just not for me for whatever reason. Have you seen do you ever see the gold one that came in once? There was a gold
No.
clownfish.
No.
It was like proper gold, but I've never seen it again. I don't know what happened to it.
Right. No, I never saw that. I did see the what were they? Longfin clownfish. Did you see them?
Yeah, the original long fins look like they've been in a blender. They've got new long fins
Yeah.
now where the fins are a bit
really?
more flowing, and so they look more like a long fin koi carp rather than like cardboard that's been shredded.
Yeah, for me, so I'm not snobby about a designer clown. Some people are. Some people say that true peculiar is beautiful. Don't mess with nature, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think standard clowns do look awesome. I absolutely agree. And I considered I was gonna buy. I went to shopping to buy a pair of standard clowns for this tank.
Yeah.
And I saw a pair of snowflakes for 50 quid. I was like, they're awesome, and they look stunning. I didn't see the price until after I saw them. But so I've got no problem with designer clowns. I think they're cool. I also think standard Nemos are cool as well. But this fish for me is, I really, that offends me.
Yeah.
Not honestly.
It
That
does
I
look
look at it,
odd.
I'm like, that, and they look like guppies. When you see
Yeah.
them swimming, I've seen these in the flesh. You see them swimming, and it's just like,
Guppies look better. The fins on guppies are like flowing, so they're like they move in the water. Fins on those clownfish are rigid, so it's like a paddle, and it doesn't look natural. That's the problem with them.
That's the issue. Is it looks unnatural because
Yeah.
in nature you would never get a fish like that because it would get killed within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And we've got other people saying the right thing. Awful, ridiculous, abomination, vomit. Should we have a poll on your drawings? We should actually, John. Yeah, that's a good
Right or
idea.
left?
But so yeah, those longfin. I crime against nature,
Yeah.
going a bit far. But I kind of agree. I just
Yeah.
think it's just. Oh no! I thought we had someone saying it's cool, and if you think it's cool, that's fine. I'm not having a pop, but no, I thought this guy said he was looking cool, but no. But that's the thing. It looks like it's got fin right. It doesn't look like all these other ones look awesome to me. They look cool,
Yeah.
but the long fin ones are just I just don't like, and it hasn't caught on.
Have you seen the zombie ones with the red eyes and like they're really
Yeah.
pale?
They look ill as well.
Yeah, I don't like those. They look weird.
All right. So the trouble is that someone posted. I asked for suggestions, and then we talked about one of them, and a Tomini Tang. Tomini Tang is for me. That's very similar to the Gold Rush. Or is that the same one?
They're the
What am I
same fish,
thinking
I
of?
think. Aren't
What
they?
am I thinking of? There's another one that I can't remember. That's very similar. I'm just trying to go back and find other suggestions of fish.
While you're looking, I'm going to throw one out there. Assessors,
Assessor.
think-
Okay.
blue and gold ones. But if you found something, we'll go with that. We'll go with what you found.
I just picked this up because I love mystery rats. They're
Yeah.
expensive, but I think they're really cool. Let's go with assessors. Yellow assessors. What assessor you took? Oh,
I have a
man.
blue assessor in my.
Facts recognize. Yeah. Sorry, blue assessor.
Did you like the Midas Blenny? Is that
Yeah. But a Midas Blenny is the best. Do you know why Midas Blenny is the best? It's the best Blenny.
No, I don't. Tell me.
Because for a start, they look awesome. They're kind of goldy color, which
Yeah.
is pretty unique. They're reef safe, which some of the Essentius, I think it is, the blennies, and I think they are in the same genus. Some aren't. Some of them scraper on corals.
Yeah.
So in my experience, anyway, actually, to be fair, do your research. That might not be right, but they're pretty reef safe. But they're so sociable. A lot of blennies hide in caves all day long, which is cool in itself, and these do as well.
Yeah.
But they swim around like with your other fish, and that they're just I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
But they don't live very long. Mine died after 4 years, and I was like, oh no, what's happened? Googled it. Lifespan is 3 to 5 years.
Oh.
So anyway, assessors.
There's
So
two.
you've got a blue assessor.
I have a blue one, but the gold ones I think look better. But
Are these the upside down ones?
yes, they are, and that's what makes them unique. Because they're like this weird fish that just hangs out upside down.
But the thing is, whenever I see them in the shop, I'm like, "Excuse me, mate, you've got a dead fish in here." Like,
No. Well, how many dead fish swim upside? Are swimming for a start, even
all
if
of
it's
them.
upside down.
You've got a dying fish. All right, okay. I tell you what. Well, so this is the yellow assessor, and I'm trying not to influence by picking a bad photo, but this is the one that I think that is probably roughly what they look like.
Yeah, I
Right?
think that's a good
That's
picture.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I think they're cool, but just and actually they're quite bright. They're quite bright. Just it freaks me out them upside down. It's like just turn around.
It's when they're the right way around you got to worry.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the opposite to normal fish.
Mm.
But I've got a blue one. I don't know why. I just think for a small unique fish, because when you've got a big tank, there's so many fish you can have. When you've got a small tank, you're a bit more limited. And if you're looking for something that's quite unique, that's brightly coloured, and interesting, I would go for an assessor. So there you go.
Drunk on water is the suggestion.
Yeah. Well, because I said, oh, them, yeah. I thought it was referring to me.
Oh, yeah. So do you know what? I've just knocked my bin over. So if you can carry on talking about assessors for a second.
I've just finished talking about assessors. So I was giving you all my assessor facts. There's not that many.
All right. Well, in that case, you could have said that they live off the coast of Queensland.
Oh, I see. You're showing me pictures, but because I'm viewing on the program that we have rather than YouTube, it's really low resolution, so I can't even see what you're showing me half the time.
Oh, right. Okay.
They're all
All right,
blurry.
I'm going to put the yellow assessor to a poll because just for me, they're just boring.
Yeah, but again, a fish that hangs out upside down, that's a conversation piece.
If you've got friends who are going to have a conversation about a fish hanging upside down, you need to reassess your friendship group, right?
If I've got friends that are willing to talk about a fish
have you
in
seen this
general,
upside down fish?
No.
Please come and have a look. Do you notice how that one's upside down and the others are the normal way around?
the poll's literally 50-50. That's so interesting.
To be fair, this is not one of the ones where I dislike it. I think it's disgusting or whatever. I think it's a cool fish, but it's just not for me at all.
It's
I
one
say
of
it's
those
a cool
fish.
fish. I think it looks cool, but
If you put that in, so if you put a soul tank in your tank now, it would cause you problems. If you put that fish in your tank now, it doesn't take. It's going to add a very small bioload. It doesn't take up much room. It's not aggressive, and you could put it in there and just go, yeah, it's there, and it's just one of those. It's like you can have it. Whereas with other fish, like an Achilles, you have to think about whether you actually want to have it. If you see what I mean, take the risk.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's a good buy. It's the same as the Swiss guards.
Tom's nailed it. It looks like an African cichlid. It looks like a yellow lab, a Labrabido chromis or whatever it is. Do you know the one I mean? The yellow lab cichlid, like a classic yellows. Anyway,
I know roughly. I've never had freshwater fish, have I? So
no, okay. Fred, can you stop putting your tail on the keyboard, please? Yeah, okay. My friends don't want to talk about my tail. No, nor do mine.
no, that's what I'm saying. I don't have to reassess my friend group. I have to invite them over more often.
But my friends don't, but my friends' kids do. And I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing. You're saying I'm a child, basically. Like them, but there's so many competing fish at the same price that are much better. Yeah, I wouldn't have one. Ryan sounds like Pingu. Mop mop. I think that might be my impression of Ryan. Are we going purely on looks? I don't know.
There's no rules to this game.
Yeah.
There's no rules.
Yeah.
It seems to be more who can convince the other. Which of us convince the people more to go to side with them.
Exactly. All right. So I'm getting to the point at which I think I feel like I've really enjoyed this, but I feel like we've done what we need to do. That's the impression. So are there other things that you want to talk about?
Look,
Other fish. You had the Caribbean blue tang. Was it Caribbean blue tang?
someone else mentioned a cat. I've actually still got a few fish, but I understand that you might be tired or whatever. But it's funny. Sometimes we do these live streams, and halfway through, I'm quite tired. Whereas this one, I've enjoyed it so much. If you wanted to keep going, I'm happy. So, but it's up to you. There's a tang, which is you would have to spell it. It's a Dessurimi tang. I've got one,
How'd you
and
spell that?
it's DUSSUI
UI, yeah.
ERMI, and then tang. I think that's how it's spelled.
Oh my god!
Does it come up?
If I put a fish this boring up,
No, just
everyone's gonna
wait.
click off.
Just wait. I'm going to look at the pictures as well. 1 second.
So actually, to be fair, this and I'll post up the picture. But this
When they get
I can see
big-
why you might like this. Yeah,
Yes.
it's big.
No, there's two things.
Big
When they get
tangs
big,
in a can up.
when they get big, and also under the right lighting. You pick one under the. There are so many nice pictures. You pick that.
There's like 10 photos. Take your pick.
No. They're all under the same lighting.
They've got quite like he's like a happy face. I like that.
When they get under the right light, they have a real blue face and they have a real bright yellow fin.
Is
And
that good enough for you?
yes, that's what it
That's
looks
cool.
like. That's what it looks like in my tank.
So that fish is a cool fish, but I just don't like big tangs. I don't like big tangs.
See, I've got one of those, and I bought it not knowing that it gets that big.
It's a no from me. Poor man's Naso. Not a fan.
Firstly, that's not even a NATO tank. That's not even remotely a NATO tank.
It's got yellow upper and lower fins. So
It looks nothing like. It's not
sorry.
even the same genus as a NATO tank.
what was it? Was it called Dussameri? Has it got a common name that I can?
I don't know the common name of it.
This one's for sale, or was 9 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Right, okay, so Dussameri tang. I'm gonna put a poll up for this. This is going to be potentially the last poll, unless there's anything that you guys really want to talk about, as in fish that you really want to put
No.
put to the test.
The other one on my list, I've got white tiger goby, which is a fish that I just have sentimental value for, which I think is a cool goby because you see it once every 6 months. And that undulated triggerfish is the one as well, which you went meh to.
Yeah. I want to like the undulating trigger, but that just a Mary. So the one photo on the right is a cool photo. All the others, big tangs are ugly. Look at this. Look at that guy, Acanthomus. Look at him. That's what it looks like.
Look at the picture just above that, just above it, with the guy with the hand.
I hate people handling fish. By the way, like that.
No, I know.
Does that wind you up?
It's just not necessary. I know they do it, take a picture of it, but
Exactly, but they do it to take. And it's like, and some people argue, "Oh, look, the fish isn't struggling; it's not trying to fight, so it doesn't hate it." If you ask the fish, mate, do you want me to do this?
Yeah.
Would it say yes? No, of course it wouldn't. I
imagine if
hate
a big
that.
hand came and picked you up
Yeah,
and held you
terrifying.
underwater rather than out of water.
The fact that it's not struggling is like I hate it. Why do it? Why? If I see a photo on a Facebook page of a shop doing that, that doesn't make me think, oh, that's a cool fish. I think, put the bastard down.
You can get better pictures of the fish, but again, it's like when you sell coral when the pictures has been edited and you're not seeing what it actually looks like in water.
Yeah, maybe. That's so 68%. I'm going to end the poll. 68% yay, 32% nay. So,
I'm putting that one down for me then. I've done well tonight.
Yeah, you have actually. To be fair. Okay, fair enough. So freckle face. That's a boring. I did a video of a guy with a 1700 litre tank who had a freckle face, and it was cool because it was interesting, but it was another big tang, and I don't like him. Don't like big tangs.
Yeah, you're weird. You're like the only person who doesn't like tangs.
Yeah,
a whole police force out there for all the people who like want to protect them. And you're just not interested.
And there's me going, don't like. Oh, I tell you what, Harlequin tuskfish.
That was on my list too. I forgot that.
Was it?
Yeah.
What is this? So I'm going to put up a video of a Harlequin tuskfish from my library, which shows how cool they are. In if I can find them. Oh no, where is it? Harlequin tusk. Oh no way, have I not got it? It's in a different folder. I can't find it. Harlequin tuskfish.
Harlequin tusk. Do you know that?
What, Indonesian and Australian?
Yeah, one of them's really orange, one of them's like brown.
Yeah, one's a bit boring.
Yeah.
So do you know what I will show? I went to Abyss Aquatics, and this is where I got this video from. Abyss is wicked, especially for fish. Look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's stunning. That's an Australian. That is a beautiful, and they've got blue teeth.
Yeah. It's the teeth. They're like these big, like you can see them out the mouth.
That's an awesome fish. So I had one of those.
Yeah.
Did you know that? It
Ate something, didn't it?
it ate everything. So it started by eating a cleaner shrimp, and that was fair game. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was a risk, should I say? I didn't know it was going to happen, but I knew that was a risk, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I can live with that. It's a shame, of course, but that's fine. And then I bought a jawfish.
Yeah.
It swam as soon as I put it in the tank. It swam straight into a cave where the harlequin tusk was.
Yeah.
The tusk grabbed it by its jaw instantly, and ate it. And I was like, right, that's bad, because I know they're like tube-shaped fish. So again, I knew that was a risk.
Yeah.
But I thought he'd be able to hide, and it just instantly bang killed
They-
it. And then it also chased. It used to chase my Solon, a red-headed fairy wrasse.
Yeah.
And that wrasse hid. It just would never come out, and again, it eventually died. And so it first it did that, then it did the shrimp, and then it did the jawfish, and I was like, do you know what? Enough is enough. I should have stopped earlier.
Yeah.
But because people all say, oh no, they're not aggressive. They're actually really timid. But I put it in. I think my tank 4 foot by 2 foot is too small for them.
Yeah. Is your tank only 4 foot? I didn't know that.
It's 4 foot 2 inches long. It's 50 inches long. But it's
Oh,
too. It looks tall. It looks tall because it's on a
Yeah,
massive
yeah.
cabinet.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's not. See, people are saying it's not a pretty fish. I wouldn't say it's got a nice color, but it's a bit odd looking, isn't it? It's.
I mean, it looks like you wouldn't want to meet it down a back alley.
Yes, that's yeah.
But I think it is pretty. I think look at that. I think it's.
Oh, look at that
maybe
crisp
it's not
white
pretty.
tail.
He's got some teeth. Yeah, shut up. He's got some teeth on him, so maybe pretty is the wrong word. But I think it's stunning. I think the colourings are amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
And this is a particularly nice specimen, to be fair.
yeah.
And funnily enough, they look boring when they're junior. It's only when they get bigger that they look nicer, I think. Long-nosed filefish. Long-nosed filefish.
I wonder if they are talking about the hawkfish.
Oh, long-nosed hawkfish. Yeah, they're awesome. I've never heard of a long. You heard? Am I making that up? There's no such thing, right?
I don't know of a long-nosed filefish.
The whole point of file. Oh yes. Yeah, you do know that.
Oh, wait a minute. Is that the one that's with the yellow nose?
Yes,
They
green
use the
spotted.
coral? Yeah. They're called something else, aren't they?
I know them as something else, but what do I know them as? Long nose. Oh no, long nose filefish. Orange spot filefish.
Yeah. That's what I would know.
But they are. So I would never have one because they will eat corals. They will eat corals. And there was a study done, and there's this article online that sounds quite scientific, and it talks about how they only eat Aquapora millipora. And it turns out that's bollocks.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And there was a guy on Ultimate Reef who read that, bought a pair, was well aware of the risks.
Yeah.
And he reported back, he was like, they eat Montes, they eat Acros, they eat LPS, they eat everything. But he loved them because they were so cool. And cool they are for show.
I think.
But that's a stunning fish for me.
that there's a lot of fish which are classified as reef safe with caution, and I think that is a bad way of describing fish. I think
so stupid.
It's like people assume that a cod band is reef safe with caution, and it's like 50-50 chance if it's going to be right. But if you put a cod band with acans, it's like 80% chance it's going to eat them. So it's not really 50. It's not like reef safe with caution. It's more like reef safe with all acros, all montes, and all these other things, but not these LPS corals.
Because the words reef safe appear in that description, it sounds like, oh, it is reef safe, but you need to watch out. But the reality is that's there's got to be. I've thought about this a lot. There's got to be a better way of describing that.
Yeah.
But the great thing about reef safe with caution is it's punchy, it's short, and really the message is, look, it might be reef safe.
Yes.
And it might be reef safe with certain types of corals, but you can't say that would be 10 lines, whereas the reef safe with caution is the punchy, okay, that's the headline, and then you need to read the body of the news article. Batfish, people talking about batfish. Oh yeah, man.
What is it? What do you mean? What do you say? Oh yeah, man. Have you seen the big batfish where they're like just grey?
There's what's it called? There's a building in London, Heron Tower,
Yeah.
where there's that enormous fish tank. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And they've got massive batfish in there, and they are, they're big. They're bigger than a dinner plate.
So you moan about big tanks, but you like big grey batfish.
Oh, I like the batfish when they're small. When they
Yeah.
get big, they look boring, and
Are
I
you talking
don't
about the
like
black ones, where they're black with the orange, like
them.
Halloween?
Yeah. Oh, they look awesome, but they should not be imported into the hobby. There are some fish, and maybe we should do this. Fish shouldn't be in the hobby. The batfish, 100%. No one's got a tank suitable for batfish, or very, very few people. And the fish that I think shouldn't be imported, copper bands, I think are okay. You might disagree, other people might disagree, but the fish that shouldn't be imported are the ones that are really tempting. So like the rock mover wrasse, what's it called, the dragon wrasse. You see that when it's nice and small, and you're like, oh, that's cool, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, it's this big and it's lifting up rocks. It's like, oh shit, they are. So it's the ones that tempt you into it, because like, they're completely unsuitable for 99% of people, but they're very tempting, especially if you don't, to the
It's
traps
almost like
for
you
the
just
unwary.
lit a fire in me, because how could you say that they're dragon wrasse, the ones that you're calling as rock movers? How can you say a dragon wrasse shouldn't be imported, but a copper band should be imported?
I'm not necessarily saying that a copper band shouldn't be imported, and I think that I'd find it hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
But the reason that I think that the dragon wrasse is different is because, and actually maybe it's not different, because they're really tempting.
Are they? They're just
Yeah.
brown.
They look cool. They look quirky. They look different, and they're small.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So, and actually, to be fair, that applies to copper bands as well. They look awesome.
Yeah.
And then you get there's the sort of fish you could impulse buy and be like, oh god. Same with all the groupers, like the panther grouper.
Yeah.
They're like this, and they're like long fins, and they like go whoa, and they're really cool spots. They look awesome. You get them home, and then you Google it, and you're like, 3 feet long. What?
Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah.
There
was a guy.
Maybe
who,
we should
Oh,
go on.
no, there was a guy. I saw an Ultra Reef once, and it was a massive tank. And what he did, if I describe this, you might recognize it, because it's one of those sort of things people would know about. It was like in the corner of the room. And it was really long, one side, and really long the other side, and it had a reef tank in the middle. And and on the outside was big predators, and the predators could swim behind the reef tank. It was like a fish
That's
only
so cruel.
and a reef combined.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's still going, that system, but that had big panther groupers and lionfish on the outside, and then like antheas in the tank in the middle.
All right. Do you know what? We're going to do that next week. I hate that, actually. That feels like it's going to stress the fish out unnecessarily, but maybe it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wouldn't. It'd stress them out for a week, and then they'd realise that they're safe. But do you know what? We're going to do that next week. Fish that shouldn't be in the hobby, and it's not saying. It's just our opinions, basically.
Yeah, it's basically saying if you have these fish, you're a terrible person.
Exactly. Well, I have one of them, a copper band.
Yeah, me too.
You too as well. Yeah. So we'll do that. And yeah, this is a good point. It's hard though, isn't it? There are some times. Do you know what? There are some fish that I've seen in a shop, and I've done a quick Google, but only because I'm like, out of an abundance of caution, I'm going to Google it just in case, because I've been in the hobby for a few years. I know most fish. And I'm surprised. So there'll be like a halicoris wrasse that isn't reef safe, for example, and it's like, oh really? Well, or gets massive.
Yeah.
So every now and then you can get caught out. But all the more reason why you should just do a quick Google, have a look at live aquaria. But it's easy not to. But I'll tell you what. So next week then we're going to do fish that should not be in the hobby for various reasons.
Yeah. There's no reason not to. There's no excuse not to do research these days. Before you used to have a book. You have to have a book to see it and try and identify what fish it was from the book. But you just Google everything these days. It takes you 30 seconds.
Yeah, and live aquaria is brilliant for that, because it might not give you the full picture, but it will tell you how big it's going to get, reef safe, precaution, that sort of stuff. Yeah. Request for talking about inverts as well. So maybe we should talk about animals that should not be imported, as in, I don't mean like the crocodiles, but I mean like fish, corals, and inverts.
Yeah,
we'll have a think, but wicked. Okay, fine. All right. Well, look, thank you for joining in. For joining in, I've loved this. I had a really good time, and you do as well, Ryan.
Yeah, I did have a good time.
The engagement was off the charts because it was cool, and it was stuff that we wanted to talk about. So we'll do next week. I think might be similar. Probably not quite as good as this, but I hope it'll be good. And yeah, thanks for joining, Ryan. Thank you for coming, and I'll catch you all again next week.